rolling back the years at the moment, isn't he? Danny Welbeck. This is Game Day exclusive on Talksport. Faker Other, Stuart Pearce and Sam Matterface with you here at the Emirates, with Arsenal Brighton kicking off shortly. Burnley Blackburn is over on Talksport 2 in our exclusive EFL Championship commentary, also kicking off at 12:30. He's had a flying start this season, hasn't he, Danny Welbeck? 2-2. Spent 5 seasons, you'll remember, at Arsenal, and had his best return in the 17-18 season of 28 goals as well. I mean, he's such a good striker. He's so experienced, and he's almost had a new lease of life coming back to Brighton.
Yeah, I think it's one of those football clubs. They've taken Danny into the club. I worked with Danny at under 21 level, smashing kid, and they've taken him in and Milner in, and almost offered them as role models to the dressing room, I think. And I think he thrives on that. And as I say, he's done extremely well. It's keeping him fit is a big one, obviously. But leading the line, he's got pace, he's got stature. And he started the season extremely well. Yeah,
as is João Pedro, starting as he finished it as well. They were looking for another striker. They didn't get Conrad Harder, who's a Danish striker from Nordsjælland, but they've got such good attacking threats, haven't they? Arsenal probably looking with a little bit of envy, actually.
Yeah, they certainly have. Not just the two boys who you mentioned down the middle, but certainly the ones in the wide areas as well are a handful. So you know full well that if you do overexpose yourself on the counter-attack, they will hurt you.
What else do this Brighton side have, though? Because defensively they've always been pretty solid, but I was speaking to Johnny Cantner, who works for another outlet, big Brighton fans, followed them for years as a journalist, and he was talking about the fact that they're quite light in midfield at the moment, particularly because Matt O'Reilly, who they signed as a central midfielder, is out injured for a fair while, which means that they're not that solid, and that's where Arsenal could potentially punish them today.
Yeah, that could be an option. When you look up the matchups in midfield, you would say that is the case. But the one thing that I've found sort of in my time sort of being on a coaching staff, coming up against Brighton, they've got the ability to go on the road and starve you with the football. You know, sometimes Arsenal will come here and they'll want to get Brighton on the back foot, but Brighton have got the ability to keep possession of the ball and nullify the momentum that you're trying to build up as the home side, and I think that's one of their strongest cards they've got.
Yeah, they've got a lot of strong cards, to be honest. I'm a big fan of Brighton, a big fan of what they do. They've spent an absolute fortune in the transfer market, finished 11th last season, quite clearly looking to push on and try and get some European football again.
Yeah, which is incredible, really, bringing a new manager through the door. They've obviously backed a new manager and his ideas as well, which is a really good thing. They often say in the first 5 games of the season, if you can accrue X amount of points, that'll see you in good stead for the rest of the season. They're 6 out of 6 at this moment in time, you know, so they've had a really strong start to the season in a game that, well, away at Everton, which can be any result, to be honest with you, first game of the season, and Manchester United at home, not easy games.
They struggled against Arsenal last season, though. Both the games that they played, they lost 3-0 and 2-0, so not even on the score sheets. So they're going to want to see what they can prove here at the Emirates today, that they deserve to be pushing for European spots.
Yeah, they should, and it will be no surprise if Brighton are in the top half of the division again and pushing on. They've invested, but then again, when you look at the likes of Fulham have invested and various other clubs have invested, West Ham have done so you've got to do that to keep up with the Joneses in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's going to be a competitive season. I can feel that already, and there's certainly a massive amount of expectation here at the Emirates. These Arsenal fans have come so close on so many occasions of late, but just can't quite get within full touching distance of Manchester City in order to overtake them and finally get their hands back on the Premier League trophy. They believe that they can do it this season. They made a statement last week, beating Aston Villa by 2-0, made it look comfortable towards the end of the game, in fact. But this, as you mentioned earlier on, Stu, is one of the games that they really need to be winning that they maybe didn't last season.
Well, exactly that. You've got to look at the fixture list that's coming up as well for Arsenal. You know, Tottenham away, Man City away, tough games. But if you're Arsenal, you've got to turn around and say, divorce ourselves from what Manchester City are doing. Let's try and post another strong season in the Premier League wherever we finish. Irrelevant to whether we finish top, second, third, it don't matter. We have to improve on last year and improve on the year before that. And if you can do that, you've done your work.
Yeah, Mikel Arteta, big banner being unfurled in front of us, so actually it's got a little bit stuck. I think what it's supposed to be saying is Vamos with Mikel Arteta on it, but they're having a struggle at the moment unfurling it on the far side of the Emirates Stadium. Also, sorry Stu, go on.
It ended up from Vamos, it ended up being a moose. You know what I mean? Which is a bit tough on the big man. He's a pretty boy, isn't he?
I dare you to tell Mikel Arteta to his face that you think he's a moose. Well, it's Stuart Pearce.
I've just said he's a pretty boy. I'm just reading the banner.
I reckon
that's
you
all
get
I'm
away
doing.
with it. Vamos indeed. That is where the players are coming out. Chris Kavanagh takes the match ball from the Premier League plinth as they come out of the tunnel here at the Emirates, and the rest of the fans take their seats to what they're hoping to be 3 points on the board against Brighton and Hove Albion, because one or maybe both of these 100% starts of the season has got to go today. Arsenal and Brighton have both had bright beginnings and made some statement signings as well. Sit back and enjoy this one in the company of former England captain Stuart Pearce and Talksport's chief football commentator Sam Matterson.
Good afternoon everyone. Or maybe you're the same as me, but maybe you got lucky and you'll now see things I'll never see. But either way, successful or not, if you've been bashing your computer all morning, refreshing, joining online queues, don't look back in anger. You can turn your focus back to the football now. And what a set list we have for you this weekend. Tomorrow, the Sunday session brings you coverage of, amongst other things, Rangers Celtic, Newcastle Spurs, Sheffield United Watford, and Manchester United versus Liverpool. And today we are offering up two acts that have earned top billing. A win today and Arsenal will be on their best run of Premier League victories for 20 years. Brighton have made a supersonic start, wins over Everton and Manchester United and the thrashing of Crawley in the Cup. And until last year, Brighton actually had found a way to disrupt Arsenal's rhythm every time they turned up here. But there does appear to be greater harmony about the Gunners nowadays. And they haven't hit a bum note since Villa beat them back in April. Well, Arsenal start with David Raya in goal, White, Saliba, Gabriel and Timber the back four, Thomas Partey, Ødegaard the captain and Rice in midfield, Saka, Havertz and Trossard, who is the only change from the side that won at Villa Park. For Brighton, who will play in all yellow with dark pinstripes here at the Emirates today, they've got Bart Verbruggen back in goal, whose last appearance actually football anywhere was in the semi-finals of the European Championship against England. His last involvement was to pick the ball out of his net from Ollie Watkins. Very, very late winner. But he's back between the sticks today for Brighton and Hove Albion with Veltman, Van Hecke, Dunk and Hinshelwood in front of him. Milner and Believer are the two holders in midfield. Minte, João Pedro and Mitoma are behind former Arsenal striker Danny Welbeck, who got his 100th club goal last weekend. Ahead of what is their second home fixture of the season. They beat Wolves here on the opening day, went up to Aston Villa to win their second fixture, and today they'll be hoping for another 3 points. Our referee is Chris Kavanagh. Our VAR is Andy Madley. Burnley against Blackburn just starting on Talksport 2. Later on the station we bring you Everton against Bournemouth, whilst we go round the grounds here with Adrian Durham. But first it's Mikel Arteta's creation against Fabian Hürzeler's high-flying birds. The Gunners against the Seagulls, only on Talksport. And we've got the band back together too, because keeping a beady eye on proceedings, here's former England captain Stuart Pearce. Hello. Hello, is it good to be back?
It's beautiful to be back. First game of the season for me. I've been out in Africa doing a bit of trekking and that type of thing, you know. And the innuendos that you've worked on, the Oasis innuendos, have been wonderful. I've missed them this summer.
You like that, did you? I'm pleased you did.
You know I did.
You asked me to do it, to be fair. It's Saliba as we get underway with Arsenal kicking from left to right with red shirts, white sleeves, white shorts and red socks. It's all yellow with dark pinstripes for Brighton, shooting from right to left. The ball's gone past Duncan Hinshelwood and into the right wing position for Ødegaard to pick it up early. He dribbles into the penalty area and then tries to lay it off to Saka. It's deflected away by Hinshelwood, and then Matoma will try and run it clear over on this near side. He runs down the white line of the perimeter of the pitch, and there was a moment there where the Arsenal fans thought the ball had gone out of play. It hadn't. Eventually they had to stop him in his tracks, and the Japanese surrendered possession back to Arsenal. So 0-0. We played just a couple of minutes here on Talksport. There are lots of other games up and down the country in the EFL, 3 in the Championship, 2 in League One and 2 in League Two, which we'll keep you updated here on Talksport. And remember, there is that live commentary, Burnley-Blackburn, always a spicy game, over on Talksport 2. And you talked about possession and how important it was going to be today. It'll be interesting to see just how much possession Brighton have of it, because there were times last week when actually Manchester United dominated the ball down at the Amex.
And they'll get used to that, as I say, but I think certainly putting teams up against Brighton in the past, when they do turn the ball over, they keep possession, and that'll be vital today at Arsenal.
Saka trying to take it down the right touchline from Kai Havertz's pass, gets to the byline, runs across the 6-yard box into the area, pops the ball off the goalkeeper. Rice keeps it alive, loops it to the back post, and it floats over the top of the 6-yard box and then kept alive by Trossard, the former Brighton player, far side. Eventually cleared. Welbeck tries to pass it into the path of Minte, who drags them up the pitch over on the far side, but immediately Arsenal win it back very high up the pitch, and they've got possession once again. These are 2 of only 4 sides that start the weekend with maximum points, and that will change over the course of the next 2 hours for one of them at least, who will walk away still with their 100% record intact.
I'm just looking at the lineup here of how Arsenal are lining up. Ødegaard playing inside right position and Rice playing inside left, and just asking questions of the fullbacks. Do I come inside and mark, or do I stay wide?
Dunk flicks a long ball which was played down the right side into the arms of Verbruggen, but Havertz had gambled and gone behind him to wait and didn't quite get on the end of it. Yeah, interestingly, when they do have the ball, Arsenal, when they are in possession, Yuri and Timber will come in from left back into a central midfield position, which allows Ødegaard and Rice to move up into those inside channels that Stuart was describing. When they are without the ball, as they are at this moment in time, Timber immediately flexes back into that more orthodox left back role. Here is Milner on halfway to Matoma, a yard in from the touchline. Feed João Pedro got the winner against United last week. He's hustled out of play on this near side, but it does go away for a Brighton throw midway inside opposition territory. 0-0.
Yeah, just looking at Hinshelwood there, first time he come up against Saka, he's shown Saka on the outside, obviously acutely aware of his ability to come inside on his left foot and open the goal up, but Saka just said to him, you're going to show me that much room, I'll just go past you on the outside.
Ball cleared upfield by Verbruggen once again. Timber will receive it. He was talking to our reporter Kwaku Afari this week, and you heard a bit of that interview earlier today on the Game Day programme, in which he referenced, that year that he's been away and how important it was now to get minutes under his belt after a tough period coming in, first game of the season last year, picking up an injury, finding himself out of the team for a long spell. Saliba at the heart of the defence to Gabriel. Gabriel out to Declan Rice. He's moved a little bit further wide. Back to Saliba again. Now hounded high up by João Pedro, and he's pinched the ball off White on the edge of the penalty area. Cuts into the box. Welbeck is arriving on the edge of the D. Couldn't squeeze the ball to him because Partey was alert to intercept. But that's another indication of things that Arsenal got to be careful of. having the ball turned over high inside their own half by the high press of Brighton.
Yeah, I'll tell you what Brighton have done. They pressed, but they pressed very narrow. The two wide players have tucked in and made it really narrow and said to Arsenal, if you're going to go through us, you're going to have to go outside first. And if you're not careful with the numbers that they put in that central area, you're going to get a turnover.
Well, Brighton were really good in parts last week. They did lose control to Manchester United in the middle of that match, but they play high risk and reward football. They push right up to the halfway line when they have the ball and try to win it back when they don't have it, high inside your half with that high pressure, that targeted high pressure. And go back to last season, and Fabian Herzl's St. Pauli team had the best defensive record in the division last year, and they won possession in the final third more than any other side. Here is Trossard for Arsenal, though, coming forward, launching the ball into the box. He's overcooked that. It's going to float over Kai Havertz's head and bounce through the 6-yard box and away for a goal kick away to our right-hand side. So we've played, what is it now? Coming up to around about 8 minutes of the game, and it's Arsenal 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 0.
Now, I think from Arsenal's point of view, they'll be delighted, Sam, if Brighton do try and press high on them, because they know full well you beat that press and it's 6 versus 6 in bigger areas of the pitch.
Talksport live at the Emirates Stadium on a day where we've got quite a lot going on. Big show at 2:30 today. Manchester City playing at 5:30. Hinshelwood has just dragged Saka to the ground on the edge of the area. Again, untidy playing out from the back. They caused themselves a bit of an issue there. And then as Saka went towards him, Hinshelwood just decided, because he'd got the wrong side of him, I need to pull him down before he gets into the box.
Well, I mentioned his name earlier. Hinshelwood showing Saka too much room on the outside. On that occasion, he looked very, very uncomfortable with the ball in possession, lost possession of the ball, and then pulled Saka down. And that area of the pitch, certainly, well, you know what Saka can do, but if you match him up against someone who can't deal with him, Arsenal could have good benefit.
Kadioglu will be someone who they integrate into the team, might play left back. He did for Turkey in the European Championships, but predominantly I think they brought him in to play at right back. Well, Trossard queuing up on the edge of the area, so is Rice. There's lots of space between Rice and the 6-yard box where most of the Brighton players are. They're packed at the far post. Saka goes towards the near post. Wrong decision, easily blocked. And it's cleared away by Brighton, but only as far as Ødegaard, who gets it back down the right to Saka. Saka plays it into Ødegaard once again, then lifts it over the top to Saka, who will volley this goalwards, but then get behind it with any real venom, and it goes into the arms of Bart Verbruggen.
Well, a couple of instances there. Saka certainly took the free kick first off and was a poor effort. He managed to get an opportunity again, a give and go. Great ball by Ødegaard. And Saka really has got to put his laces through that in a hitch kick. He's decided to side foot it, and easy for the goalkeeper.
Good opportunity for Arsenal, but still 0-0 on Talksport. Elsewhere, we're still waiting our first goal of the day in the EFL, and we've played nearly 9 minutes here. You're listening to Game Day exclusive. Ball is on the cusp of the centre circle, just right of centre, inside the Brighton half of the field, because of a foul on Danny Welbeck as Brighton look to escape. And Joel Veltman has just kicked the ball straight at Leandro Trossard. Then the second attempt to get the ball down the touchline came off the Belgian again, and it's out for a throw into Brighton inside Arsenal territory, about 10 steps down the right-hand side of the pitch. Just wonder whether or not Jack Hinshelwood probably should have been booked there for breaking up a promising attack.
Well, there's no doubt about that. Saka's what was he, a foot outside the box, going into the box with the ball, and if you pull someone back and you're the wrong side there, I think that probably deserved a booking, but luckily for Brighton he didn't get one, I think.
Veltman diving into a challenge, and there was a foul there, and Chris Kavanagh suggesting that eventually, after giving a free kick, he would pull the ball back for a opportunity for Arsenal to restart the match again. And again, you know, that could have been a yellow card as well. Wicket in the game at Lord's. Here's John Norman.
127 for 4. Brooker's hold out, going for quick runs. He's been caught in the deep for 37. England lead by 358. They're 127 for 4.
Saka down the right-hand side, pulls the ball to Ødegaard, who's crossing to the box, is headed away by Duncan and further cleared by Van Hecke. Out towards this near side. Arsenal keep the pressure on. David Raya gets right up to the edge of the centre circle, floats the ball over the top for Saka, who tried to centralise the ball because Havertz was lurking, but again he didn't quite catch it right. He went with a side foot again, and it bobbled off the ground and into the arms of Verbruggen.
No, he's been the most effective player for Arsenal, but also the most wasteful as well, Saka. And at the moment, there's a real mismatch in this side. Hinshelwood is having a disaster trying to deal with him, and if you're Arsenal, just keep getting it out this side, and Saka's just got to do a little bit more with all the possession that he's receiving.
Yeah, I must admit, I watched the first game against Everton, and Hinshelwood struggled a little bit with Jack Harrison in the first 15 minutes of that game as well. It took him a little while to get to grips with things before eventually Brighton took control of that match, and he's really struggling with Saka so far, but we've only played 11 minutes. You're listening to Talksport. Ball is up on the left-hand side, and it's with Arsenal, who then float it via Saliba out towards the right, where they know there is fertile ground for Saka to run into. He heads the ball, takes on Hinshelwood, goes one way, then the other, brushes him aside, into the box he goes, right foot, it comes back to wide edge of the area after a half deflection, then it comes off at the chest of Duncan behind for a corner. Well, another chance, and Saka is running riot at this moment in time.
He certainly is. You can tell that Hinshelwood's having trouble, because as soon as Saka picks the ball up, his first look is behind him. Who is behind me trying to double up with me? Well, the answer to your question, son, is nobody. Deal with it yourself, and it's not an easy task. And when the ball come back to White, he's hit it with real violence, and it's hit, I think, Dunk's arm and gone behind. But obviously, new laws of the game, no penalties given for anything these days.
Burnley 1, Blackburn 0 over on Talksport 2. Burnley came shooting out the blocks, but were halted by Sunderland last week as far as their league form was concerned. But they are in front against the team that they usually get the better of. Blackpool 0, Wycombe 1 in League 1 is the latest scoreline. And we've got a corner here for Arsenal away to our right-hand side of the clock end. It's taken by Rice in towards the back edge of the 6-yard box. Partey trying to get up there, plays it against João Pedro, and then, well, I think actually Gabriel, who was coming round the back, is claiming that it came off of João Pedro last. What is Verbruggen doing there? He's kicked the ball straight out of play on this near side. And Brighton haven't really settled yet. They've been a bit shaky. They've given the ball away cheaply. Yes, they won the ball high up inside opposition territory, but that's been the best of their play so far and where they've been most productive. They just haven't been inside the Arsenal half very often. It's been all Arsenal who've had the best chances, but they've won the ball back here, just inside opposition territory, then given it away again, and Trossard now turns it over, and then, well, I think he was trying to play it out to the right, but gave it away. Mitoma through the legs of Ben White has escaped, got to the halfway line. Baleba is on this near side, he gets into the left wing position now, and all of a sudden yellow shirts start to join. Might have been an offside flag that would have gone up if Baleba had continued his run, and that had ended up being more productive for Brighton, who now just slow proceedings down, keep it on halfway, go back to Duncan Van Hecker and then into Hinshelwood, then Dunk again out towards the left side of Mitoma. On halfway, Dunk has it once more and then plays it centrally, where it's collected by Baleba. Fabian Hertzler is well outside his technical area here, but the fourth official isn't saying anything just yet. Given away by Danny Welbeck cheaply, and now Saka's got it halfway, and Hinshelwood dived in, did get something on the ball, just about won it back with the help of Mitoma, and it's picked up by Baleba, and they move forward once again. Gillingham have taken the lead against Chesterfield in League 2. It's 1-0 to the Gills at this moment in time. 2024 has been a pretty good time to be an Arsenal fan. They've won 18 of the 20 top flight games in that period. Only Villa and Manchester City have stopped them from doing so. Many people thought that Brighton would cause them some problems, and that's still possible, but Arsenal have settled well. Here is Minte over on the right hand side. He's out foxed Urian Timber and got a header in on goal, and David Raya has had to make a save.
Yeah, spot on there, Sam. As I say, Timber's waiting for the ball. He's got his feet planted. He thinks, I'll head this away. And Minter just flashed across the front of him, and Raya made it look quite easy to save. It's been a bit scruffy from both teams, hasn't it? Arsenal in the attacking third have been a little bit wasteful, and I think we might have a substitution here. I think there's an injury for a Brighton player.
already Ayari is about to come on, Yassine Ayari, and I wonder who that is going to be. It might be James Milner who has to be replaced. Now, one of the old stagers, he's gone down just right of the centre circle. He doesn't look particularly comfortable, James Milner, so they may well be forced into a change here. Fabian Hürzeler and his team. Brighton already winners twice, have never won their opening 3 games of a Premier League season. Hürzeler is the first Brighton boss actually to win his first 2 league games in charge to Mickey Adams in 1999. There is an opportunity here for both teams to take a bit of a time out, Stuart. What will the managers be saying to their sets of players?
Well, Brighton's message is this: when we turn the ball over, we have to keep the ball better than we have been doing. And from Arsenal's point of view, they've had a lot of entries into Brighton's box at the moment, more so Saka. Let's not be wasteful with those entries.
Well, so far we have seen Bukayo Saka test Bart Verbruggen on a couple of occasions. We've seen him get into great positions on that right-hand side, yet they haven't managed to conjure anything. It's still Arsenal 0, Brighton 0 on Talksport with Sky Sports. And don't forget that you can stream more Sky Sports football than ever before, available with no contract on now, like West Ham versus Manchester City live today. Search Now Sports. Doncaster, who did well in the first half against Everton on Tuesday night live on Talksport, have taken the lead against Port Vale in League 2. Remember, later today Everton-Bournemouth is on Talksport 2. Tomorrow the Sunday session comes live from Old Trafford. Celtic Rangers, Manchester United Liverpool, Newcastle Tottenham, Chelsea Palace, EFL action for you as well, and Sheffield United Watford. That EFL action is live on Talksport 2. Milner off and Ayari on. What do you think the problem is there? He has got a little bit of tape down his right thigh, hasn't he, James Milner? Is it his... well, actually, he's strapped up.
Got a hell of a strapping on, so it looks as though he's gone into the game with this problem by the looks of it. And, well, listen, he's not lasted too long, so it's obviously it was a gamble that hasn't paid off for Brighton.
Yeah, so Yassine Ayari is on in his place. Had a goal disallowed at Everton, spent last season on loan in the Championship with Coventry and Blackburn. He is a Swedish international, is Ayari. And he's on now after just 18 minutes of the first half. This is Talksport. And we're back underway with Saka in possession on the right-hand side. 3 or 4 steps inside opposition territory. Ben White sends the ball crossfield from right side to left. It's taken down well by Trossard. His cross into the centre is met by Ødegaard, who was arriving, but again, just no conviction as he arrived into the box to thrash that home. It was a brilliant crossfield ball by White initially. The return cross by Trossard, equally as good. But Ødegaard, basically free on the edge of the 6-yard box, did not hit it with the required venom.
Well, you've hit a nail on the head there. When the ball falls to you, you've got to hit it with some form of violence, as though you mean to score a goal. And it was almost as though, as long as they get a decent contact, the ball will do the rest. And that wasn't the case. It's been Saka wasteful in that respect, and now Ødegaard.
Strange, wasn't it? I mean, it almost felt a little bit like he was waiting for the ball to drop in front of him, and it just wouldn't come, and he maybe just got a little bit early with his run, and which is why he had to adjust his body position, and he couldn't get the kind of power that he required behind it, Ødegaard. Also, there's a suggestion that he might have been offside, and maybe that was the reason. Certainly Kai Havertz is offside now, and the flag is up on this near side. Either way, don't take any chances. Whack it and worry about the rest of it later.
I'll tell you what, we've got a fantastic viewpoint here. We're probably 10 metres inside Brighton's half, and we can see right across the line there's 5 Arsenal players in the front line, and players are either coming to feet or alternatively both Ødegaard and Rice looking to spin in behind. What does that do? It pulls the Brighton back 4 around a little bit so they can able to hit those diagonal balls into either Trossard or Saka.
Brighton have got a good record here. And Arsenal exercised one ghost last week when they beat Aston Villa, who had a habit of giving them a bloody nose ever since Unai Emery had sort of gone there. But also Emery himself did it with Villarreal as well, since he was sacked by Arsenal, had caused them concern. But Ollie Watkins, if he'd had his shooting boots on, might have made things a little bit more uncomfortable at Villa Park last week. There were moments of real concern for them. And there might be a moment of concern here because Yankuba Minte has just gone rather harshly in on Martin Ødegaard, and Ødegaard has gone up in the air holding his ankle, and he does not look comfortable.
No, he's caught him just below the knee actually, and the follow through. Minter's got there first and won the ball fairly, and his follow through's just caught Ødegaard with his studs just below his knee. They can be painful, but I think he'll be okay on the back of this.
Our cameras are showing pictures in the director's box of Mikel Merino, who scored that wonderful 119th minute goal against Germany for Spain in the quarterfinals of the European Championships. You might remember he jumped up, did the splits, looked like he could have qualified for the Spanish gymnastic team. He was so flexible and powered a header in, but he doesn't look as flexible today. He's sitting in the director's box with his arm in a sling. That was courtesy of a training ground incident with Gabriel on Thursday in his first session. He's going to be out for 5 to 6 weeks. Another new signing is here as well as we wait for Ødegaard to receive treatment and get play to get back underway. Raheem Sterling up in a corporate box high up above the pitch here, sitting with his family watching on. I'm sure he got a little bit of sleep after doing all that social media stuff last night. We were speaking to the social media team this morning, and it really was that late, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. They ended up wrapping up last night after eventually getting it over the line.
I do wonder about the sensibility of a Friday night before major fixtures on a Saturday, and you've got to deal with incomings, outgoings, when we've had all summer when the window's been open.
The whole thing seems crackers, doesn't it? Mikel Arteta referred to it actually as Ødegaard comes off on this near side. Looks like he's going to be able to continue for now anyway. He referred to it yesterday in his press conference saying, look, if everybody in Europe could just agree to do it before the start of the season, I would be well up for that. But there was a year when we decided that we were going to close the window as the season started, and everybody else didn't. So it doesn't really work. Here's Trossard on the near side as we get back underway. Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. It's been a bit of bitty start to the game, but Arsenal do have a corner on this near side, and set pieces were a real weapon for them last season. They scored 22 set piece goals, 16 of them from corners, more than anybody else in the league.
Yeah, they certainly got some physical presence about them, Arsenal, in the box. I'm looking here, they've got 5 players gone in the box, all 6'2" plus at least. But what they need, most importantly, is good delivery from Saka.
Well, Saka is standing over the ball on this near touchline. The ball is in the quadrant. Ødegaard on the edge of the penalty area, so is Trossard. Gabriel's a real threat, has made a run towards the near post. It goes in towards that near post, but it was a poor delivery by Saka. Back in by Ødegaard, flicked into the air, still loose inside the box. Van Heckel is pushing and pulling. The ball is loose inside the 6-yard box. Verbruggen comes out, gathers it, and then threatened to get rid of it quickly. And actually, if he had have done, Mitoma was speeding away to the halfway line, and Minte over on the right-hand side was an option too. But he delayed, and Arsenal got back and got set.
Yeah, Belieber done really well there. Ball bouncing around in the box just outside the 6-yard box, and he just headed it back over the Arsenal front line just to his goalkeeper. Once again, poor delivery from Saka from the corner.
Here is Mitoma, near side the Brighton left. He wanders into a congested midfield, lifts the ball into the air, drops at the feet of Veltman, then tucked round the corner where it's collected by Danny Welbeck. In bright pink boots, he hands it off to Minte. Minte now back to Veltman, who's deep crossed to the far post. He's going towards Mitoma, but Raya comes out, grabs it above the Japanese and pours it into his chest and will clear it away. David Raya, who is one of those new signings, really. I mean, he was on loan last season. He's now permanently an Arsenal player after a transfer this summer from Brentford. And his performances in between the sticks for Arsenal last season have led to Aaron Ramsdale moving on to pastures new. He may well be in the Southampton team today, Aaron Ramsdale. But did you see his unveiling video yesterday?
No, I didn't.
He was dressed up as Hagrid from Harry Potter.
Was he really?
Yeah, because he went dressed as Hagrid to support Southampton in the playoff final because his mate David Brooks was in the team at the time. Just beautiful. So he recreated it yesterday. He is a character. He'll certainly give them some personality and leadership at the Archwood.
And he needs to play as well, doesn't he? You
really
know, for his international credentials, if nothing else.
Yeah, it wasn't in the England squad, but Lee Carsley announced whilst we were at St George's Park on Thursday. Here is Belieber for Brighton. 0-0 the score. Back to Dunk, who's just short of the centre circle. Looks up, wanders forward. We played 25 minutes on Talksport. It's been a little bit interrupted, but it's still goalless. Ball down the right side, collected by Ayari. And he then takes it out of play, and it's away for a throw. And a little bit of frustration from Fabian Herzler, who can be a little bit energetic on the touchline. They looked very good, actually, I thought, in midweek against Crawley. I'm not surprised about that, but he was pretty clear to warn that it would be much harder today. He name-checked Ødegaard. He talked glowingly about Havertz and Saka yesterday. We're going to have to suffer, he said. There will be phases where we have to defend together, but also we've got to try and bring our style of play too. They weathered a bit of an early storm here, Stuart, really, Brighton.
I think they've got lucky, if I'm being honest with you. Arsenal have broke into the box on occasion. Saka been the main beneficiary of being wasteful. But Ødegaard as well, great opportunity from about 8 yards out, no contact, and really, I think Brighton have been fortunate. I don't think they've played particularly well. They've not kept the ball particularly well in the game.
Yep, they've been fortunate to get away with a couple of really good openings, and Havertz and Ødegaard trying to craft another here. Van Hecke comes across and blocks his path to the 18-yard box. It's cleared away by Brighton. Ayari searches out Minte on the far side. He holds the ball up, but he's got Timber to deal with. Timber wrestled him to the ground, but Minte kept the ball for Brighton and got it back over on the far side to Veltman. Hinshelwood dropping into midfield and then working it wide from deep to Veltman. From the right back position, he moves up towards halfway, then turns and fires it back to Van Hecke. He takes his time to get forward, and then infield it goes to Belieber. 0-0 on Talksport. Elsewhere in League 2, Gillingham 1-0 up, Port Vale 1-0 down to Doncaster. In League 1, Wycombe lead Blackpool by a goal to 0. In the Championship, 3 fixtures ongoing, but it's now Burnley 1, Blackburn 1 over on Talksport 2. 2 goals already in that game. Now commentary offering over on Talksport 2, which you can listen to if you download our app, and you can flick between the 2 stations. I think Stuart and I were both expecting it to be a little bit warmer here today than it is. It's a little bit overcast and grey. The forecast was for sunshine on what is still an August day, the last day of August. And hasn't been a bright start for either of these 2 teams at this moment in time. João Pedro down the left-hand side, trying to get the better of Partey. Does that, gets the ball, produced across, blocked by Saliba, who holds firm, then chases out his deflected block and stops it from going for a corner and puts it out for a throw-in. Good defending by Arsenal.
Yeah, both teams, it's this near side of the pitch. Arsenal's attacking right and Brighton's attacking left. The best opportunities for each team are coming from.
Arsenal probably will feel as if they should have scored. Hinshelwood's shot from distance takes a block which ricochets it into the path of Mitoma, who moves down the left, gives it to João Pedro. There's 4 waiting in the centre. Dunk now joining the attack. Into the left corner of the field is João Pedro. Pace has slowed a little bit, but Hinshelwood's gone on the outside. They didn't watch his run. His cross is deep towards the far post. It's eluded David Ryan. It has to be tucked behind for the first Brighton corner of the game. And it was Jurrien Timber at that far post that had to deal with it. And Saka, who just switched off to allow Hinshelwood to go on the outside.
I'll tell you what, Sam, both teams and both managers will be a little bit disappointed with how both of their teams have played so far, I think.
Yeah, they're not quite up to full tilt, are they?
They're not at it, you're right.
Here is the corner, far side, to be taken by Minte. His ball is way too heavy, and it goes right through the 18-yard box. Saka went to meet it. He was pushed in the back by Belieber, and it's going to be a free kick in the right full-back position. That's kind of summed up the whole game.
Yeah, it did. I mean, Arsenal have had a corner on this side and a free kick in a really good area to deliver a telling ball into the box with the height advantage they've got. They failed to do so, poor delivery, and Brighton on that occasion, a corner from the right hand side, whipped it in so overhit, it was incredible.
So 0-0, and although Arsenal had the better chances, they haven't taken them. And it remains goalless on Talksport. Ball goes up towards Havertz, who beats Dunk in the air, flicks it down into the right wing position. Rice gets it back and gives it to Saka, who's bumped off the ball by Mitoma. He's probably bumped off the ball a little bit too easily by Kara Mitoma. And it goes out of play eventually for a Brighton throw. The Arsenal fans aren't happy about it, but in truth, he probably needed to be a little bit stronger there, Stuart.
Listen, everyone's looking to buy a free kick rather than get on the ball and start playing, and that was one of those occasions once again.
Hinshelwood down the near side, long throw, flicked away by Ben White, further cleared by Yari, drops near the halfway line on the right side for Saliba. He tries to fight the ball away. Welbeck tries to squeeze between Partey and Saliba, but he comes away with the ball, then gives it away, and Believer's got a chance to send Minte forward down the right side if he can find him. His ball wasn't perfect, but Minte has made the most of it. Into the 18-yard box he goes. He's down the right side by the byline, produces a cross into the box towards Welbeck, away by Saliba, and then heading in the air towards Mitoma, who strikes it from Havertz, whose poor defensive header fell to the Japanese down the left side of the box, and he volleyed it back across the face of goal, and he was only narrowly wide of the target.
My goodness, there's been some really scruffy phases of play by both teams, and that attack there by Brighton was exactly one of those. Arsenal giving the ball away cheaply. Then Believer should have played an earlier pass to Minte. He didn't do so. He held on to the ball, didn't deliver a good pass, and in the end it was Havertz who gives the ball away cheaply and an effort at goal.
Now, you don't want to give them too much of opportunity, because Brighton are a threat. They've scored 9 goals in their 3 wins this season so far, and going back further, they have only failed to find the net just once in their last 7 matches in all competitions. Ball out of play far side. Veltman wrestling Trossard to the ground, and it's going to be a free kick just a yard in from the left touchline, midway inside Brighton's half of the field for Arsenal. Taken short by Timber. Back to halfway. 32 minutes on the clock. Talksport. Saliba, centre circle. Ben White. Did you think that sometimes these early kickoffs sometimes just sort of depends who you are and what team you are, but sometimes can just catch you out just a little bit in terms of getting you fit and firing for kickoff?
Yeah, I think so. There's no doubt about that. You know, it sort of out of tilt a little bit. I always used to prefer playing the latter kickoffs, if you like. The evening games were much better, but neither team, I mean, both teams have come into this on really good form and a good start to the season, but neither team have played consistently well within the game so far.
There's been a lot of stoppages for injuries and issues. Milner, obviously, Ødegaard. We've played 32 minutes. The ball's been in play for only 18 of those so far, and that is a little bit worrying, I think, in terms of just the amount of time that the ball has been in action. Saka's gone down with a hand injury. Fabian Hürzeler is suggesting that he then grabbed his face after he'd gone down and play had developed, and he's gone into the 4th official, who is John Busby, and screamed and shouted and gesticulated. So he's now involved in a confrontation with the 4th officials, asking him to calm down. He's not really one for doing that. You are listening to Arsenal 0, Brighton 0 on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs. We're at the Emirates. Durin Timber has shrugged off Yankuba Minte and played it out wide towards the left. Over the halfway line, it's collected by Declan Rice, and then on to Trossard, who travels down the touchline, cuts in field, bumped into by Veltman. The healthy Brighton contingent like the fact that he ran into a little bit of a problem there. Trossard, their former player, he's getting now cheered by the Arsenal fans who recognise his capabilities. White forward, looking for Saka. Poor ball cut out by Hinshelwood. Collected now just short of the halfway line by Believer, who's dispossessed by Ødegaard once he tried to do a trick too many, and then Hinshelwood will see it run back into the left full-back position before recycling it to Verbruggen. The blonde hair, slender figure of Jean-Paul Van Hecker brings it out of defence and then gives it back to his goalkeeper. He's an example, really, John Paul Van Hecker, of exactly what Brighton do. When they tried to hire him, they sat down with him and said to him, we're going to hire you, give you a 5-year contract. The first year you're going to go back to Dutch football. Second year you're going to play in the Championship. Third year you're going to be in and around the first team. Fourth year you'll be a starter. And he said when he had that conversation with Brighton, he said, yeah, all right, bro, as if you can plan 4 years in a row. But that's exactly what happened. You know, he went through that development and now he's playing in the first team as they predicted. That is the level, I think, of their planning, strategy and recruitment power. Here's Saliba, back out wide to Saka. Infield it goes to Saliba once again. Arsenal putting the squeeze on Brighton, pushing high up inside their territory now. Goes back to halfway. And Saliba looks forward, hesitates, turns back. A little bit of frustration from Mikel Arteta. It hasn't been the perfect performance by either of these two teams, and we've played 35 minutes on Talksport. Here is White, Saliba. Those two players have probably had more of the ball than Arsenal would have liked at this stage. Gabriel out wide. Trossard touching the ball right close to the touchline. Tries to feed it through to Havertz. Didn't work, but Rice rescued it. Offside flag is up. And again, another stoppage. Another pause in play and another failure for either of these two teams to find their rhythm.
Yeah, the way the game's ticking on at the moment, Sam, at the end of it, one of them will win it and they'll paint the picture that they played really well. The other team will say, well, we weren't at it today. But if truth be known, up to this stage, the game's been stop-start and neither team have played particularly well.
Hence why it's goalless. Here is Gabriel getting it back to his goalkeeper in David Raya. Mikel Arteta looks a little bit frustrated. Both managers wearing black today, by the way, from head to toe. And both very animated inside their technical areas. One or two being warmed up down the near touchline. Tariq Lamptey is one of those for Brighton, just getting a bit of a run out. Maybe ahead of maybe a change at half-time. Wouldn't be surprised if there was a change at half-time. Oh, Saka. The ball's been played to him on this near side. And look, you're supposed to open up your body and then go down the outside, give yourself some room to play. But he allowed it to run too far in front of him and it just dribbled out of play.
As I say, done everything right, opened his body up, as you rightly say, but you've got to take a touch to keep the ball in play firstly.
0-0. Ball cleared through the middle of the park by Verbruggen, straight up towards Matoma, headed away by Saliba. Minte then gets nudged to the floor by Gabriel, and again another stoppage, again another free kick, this time for Brighton. This is 10 or 15 yards outside the penalty area, over on the right-hand side, and a chance maybe for Brighton to construct something as we reach the latter stages of this first 45.
How much backroom staff has Herzl brought in at Brighton, Sam? Do you know?
Well, he's got Crofty, who's been around for a while, and Jack Stern, who's been around part of the sort of goalkeeping fraternity for Brighton for a while. But he has brought in two other members of staff from Germany. Ball into the box from Minte's free kick, and it was easily caught by David Raya, who then spotted that Trossard could go darting into opposition territory but didn't get his kick right. A bit of a waste of a free kick from Brighton, and then a waste of a quick release from David Raya too. But yeah, there's he's a goalkeeper coach, but he's also a first team coach in Mark Knoop, I think it is. And Jones Shalman. Here is Saka onto Havertz. Goalkeeper comes out. Havertz knocks it from the edge of the penalty area, and Arsenal take the lead. Well, that was pretty basic. Brighton switched off. The ball went through from Saka to Havertz, and Havertz lobbed the advancing Verbruggen. It went over the top of his head and sailed into the empty net, and Arsenal make the breakthrough.
Yeah, poor defending there by Brighton. A really cheap goal. Long ball, didn't compete for it at the back. Someone nudged off the ball. I think it was Dunk. As I say, just a clearance up the pitch, and Dunk just didn't compete for it. And at that stage, goalkeeper in no man's land, Van Hecker in no man's land, and a very good finish.
Well, Saka will get the assist, but actually it's all down to the fact that Dunk missed the header.
I don't know what Dunk was doing, to be honest with you. The ball's in the air, it's you or Saka, just head the ball clear. He's not done that. And it was a mistake, basically, that's led to the goal. But the way the game's gone, that's fairly understandable.
Arsenal 1, Brighton 0. And the goal scorer is Kai Havertz. And for all the talk of needing a centre forward, the fact that Kai Havertz is on the score sheet again will be something that puts a smile on the face of his manager. 1-0 the scoreline. Here is Minte as Brighton look to respond. Into Welbeck, then Ayari, Dunk, then out wide towards the Brighton left. It's collected by Mitoma and then flicked on by Veltman. Attacking it is Hinshelwood. It's dropped down in front of Raya, who's had to come and grab it. And eventually cleared away. And again, he's hit it very quickly up towards Saka, and Saka might get there once more. Across comes Dunk. He tries to go on the outside of him. Backing up, Dunk was Mitoma. And between the two of them, they managed to get it back to Verbruggen. Here is Hinshelwood. He's misfielded it. And it's gone out again on this near side. Ball loose inside the box, and Believer just has to get in front of Havertz before it drops kindly for the German, and it goes back to his goalkeeper once again. But Brighton haven't looked very secure at the back, not at all. No, Arsenal 1, Brighton 0. The latest odds are available at BetBet, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage. Right now Arsenal are 8-1 on to go and win the game. 22-1 for Brighton to come back and win it. The draw is 7-1. That's all thanks to BetBet, who are paying out winning bets at 90 minutes with 90-minute guarantee. Terms and conditions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org. Here's Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, as I say, Lewis Dunk, he's just, I don't know what he's trying to do. Long balls have come up to him on a few occasions, namely the goal. And instead of just winning a header and making sure you secure the ball, it's almost as though, well, I'm just going to use my body to bring it down. We can start playing from the back. And he's just been nudged off the ball on 2 or 3 occasions. And on the last of those, it's cost his team a goal.
Partey giving the ball away cheaply on the edge of his own penalty area, not once but twice, and Declan Rice is trying to get away, and then he's gone sliding in on Joel Veltman, and that was a really reckless challenge from Declan Rice, who's going to find himself in serious trouble here. Well, the referee's calling him over. The Brighton bench are up. Fabian Herzler is again pointing in the direction of the Arsenal technical area. It was a really reckless challenge from Declan Rice. He was never going to get there, and he's going to go in the yellow card.
Yeah, I think this day and age in football, everyone's up, the benches are up, and God knows what else. I think Declan's overstretching for the ball. It's a yellow card, but I don't think his foot was raised in any way, shape or form.
No.
It's a yellow card, no more.
It was a poorly timed challenge by Declan Rice, and I think he's accepted that. And he is the first one to go into the referee's notebook. Chris Kavanagh is not happy. He's being summoned over by John Busby, the fourth official, and the second yellow card is going to go for Fabian Herzler. I was going to wait till a little bit later to tell you about his antics on the touchline, but the truth is that he is still a young man, and he comes across a bit mild-mannered and approachable, but anyone who's worked with him at St Pauli and Brighton will tell you that although he's very honest and clear with his players, and he has what he calls a friendly authority, he can be a pain in the backside to officials on the touchline. He bounces around that technical area like Zebedee, and last year he got 7 yellow cards on the touchline. He has his first Premier League one today, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, and as I say, for me, a bit of overreaction, but when it's one of your players, and you've just gone a goal down, it's understandable, maybe.
Talksport live at the Emirates, where Arsenal lead by 0-0. And Lewis Dunk making the mistake. Saka feeding Havertz, whose finish was really cool. He lobbed the goalkeeper beautifully. It was superb.
João Pedro's just been caught now and rolling round holding his ankle, and I think he had a little look at the referee to make sure he was looking as well. Yeah, I think he's overdoing it, the touch.
Yes, and we've had a good look at his underwear as a result of him rolling around so much. He was challenged from behind by Bukayo Saka. Did Saka get a yellow card for that? I don't think he did.
No, he didn't. And listen, every time you tread on someone's foot, it can't be a yellow card, sir.
Here is Hinshelwood's free kick on this near side. The Brighton left. He will float this one in as we approach the final minute of the first half. Hinshelwood floats it deep towards the back post. Dunk coming underneath it. It sort of hit an Arsenal player as it went past. It should be out for a corner, this. And the referee didn't know. So he waited, didn't make a decision and decided on a goal kick. The Brighton fans will be unhappy about that.
Yeah, as you said, the referee couldn't see it. The linesman had a better view and couldn't give him any help. And in the end, it's an Arsenal goal kick.
I think it took an Arsenal flick last. That's going to be my prediction. There you go. Now, I saw that from here.
Yeah, I think we all did.
The assistant over on the far side, Richard West, didn't pick that up on this occasion, and it is a goal kick. And again, Fabian Hertzler, this time now sitting down and sending Andrew Crofts out to do his talking for him. 4 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. A very interrupted and frustrating first half to watch, really. It certainly hasn't been a clean and fluid game. It's been a little bit clunky, and I suppose the goal sums up the occasion. Arsenal certainly been the better of the two teams, have created more of the chances, without doubt. And they got their goal after a mistake from Dunk, which Saka capitalised on, fed Havertz, and he lifted it over the top of the goalkeeper. Getting my Germans confused.
It's a dangerous thing to do,
yes,
my friend. It really is.
I've heard that. I've heard your tales from the European Championships, Stuart. Here is Van Hecke. Across the back four he goes to Dunk. Matoma under pressure gives it straight to Declan Rice. Rice into Saka. Saka to Ødegaard. Ødegaard back towards Saka. Belieber will intervene and step in front of Saka. But Saka will get it back after a mistake from Ayari. He'll tee up Trossard, who, well, it was weird behind him. I think he was trying to flick it into the path of Rice, but it didn't quite come off. As not a lot has really over the course of the 45 minutes that we've had so far. And it remains 1-0 to Arsenal.
Yeah, as you say, too many players have been too wasteful with opportunities, either playing out from the back or alternatively playing through the thirds.
Right, Rice was offside, so he's left that for Trossard. Different phase of play now, so he can get involved. As Trossard gets into the area, a right-footed shot which goes straight down the throat of Bart Verbruggen.
Now, this is where the laws of the game confuse me a little bit. Rice clearly offside. He's chased the ball, and then when he's 3 yards away from the ball, left the ball to his teammate. Now, I think he's attempting to influence play.
I won't get into that now, Stu.
No, sorry, I shouldn't have brought it up just before half-time.
All sorts of threads to pull out there. 1-0 it is, and we are into the third of 4 added minutes at the end of the first half at the Emirates, where I think Arsenal will be pretty pleased they're going to go in at break with a 1-0 advantage, bearing in mind that they had a couple of really good opportunities for Ødegaard and Saka early on, didn't take them, and then one presented itself latterly, an uncontested drop ball here which has been given to Jean-Paul Van Hecke. And from inside his own half, midway inside it, he plays it square to the captain Dunk. Dunk then out to João Pedro. João Pedro is not moving particularly freely after that challenge earlier on. He's starting to try and go down the left-hand side, but he moved pretty freely past Saka there. And then he takes on Partey, gives it to Matoma, and then he's pulled down by Partey as he goes on to receive the second ball from Matoma, and that's going to be a yellow card for Partey and a free kick in the wide area for Brighton straight before half-time.
Yeah, as I say, if he's pulled his opponent down, you can't have any complaints that you've been booked on that. I think João Pedro made the most of it, but there was a tug on him.
Arsenal have to defend a free kick just before the break. Chris Kavanagh is getting told he doesn't know what he's doing, but if you break up a promising attack, it's in the laws, it's a yellow card. And actually, Hinshelwood should have had one earlier, didn't get one. Partey has now got one for a similar sort of offence. In fact, probably a lesser offence, really. Here is Hinshelwood's free kick left side, right-footed into the woods of the 6-yard box. It's half clear, comes back to João Pedro, and then he sort of deflects the ball forward before it's away by Gabriel. Picked up by Belieber, but instead of going forward, he'll go all the way back to Verbruggen. We'll look to build again. We've played our 4 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. The ball loose on the edge of the 18-yard box. Rice's header hooked over his head by Erdegaard out towards Saka, who's then collided with Hinchelwood. He's gone down. The referee's had enough and said, I'm fed up with all this scrapping and pauses in play. Let's just get in, have a break, come out a little bit better. Someone's 100% record had to go today, and on the evidence of this first half, I suppose it looks like it's going to be Brighton's, but it's been a very scrappy first 45 minutes in which the only bit of quality was Havertz's finish when he put them in front after a mistake by Dunk. At the break then, Arsenal lead by 1-0.
Well, that was a bit of a scrappy mess really, all in. Stuart Pearce, it feels. I was so excited about this game when I saw it on the fixture list as the third game of the season, but it's not really lived up to expectations.
That's an understatement, I've got to say. I, like you, turned up today and thought there's going to be some really good football from both teams. My visualisation is that Brighton are going to keep the ball really well, make it a little bit difficult, be very good on the counter-attack. Arsenal be clinical in the final third, and neither has happened really. Arsenal have had good opportunities. They've also ceded a couple of bad possessions that's enabled Brighton to add efforts at goal as well. And lo and behold, on 45 minutes, a mistake has led to the goal.
Yeah, which you could kind of see, and I don't know what... I mean, look, there's a big height difference between Lewis Dunk and Bukayo Saka. I don't feel as if Lewis Dunk had that peripheral vision to notice him behind him, and he snuck in, missed his header completely, and Saka then set forward Kai Havertz, who brilliant finish, spotted Verbruggen off his line, and you know, they're away.
Yeah, I think let's talk about the finish first off. It was a wonderful finish. He's just helped it over him, very similar to Palmer's goal for Chelsea last weekend. Just helped it over the top of the goalkeeper. Clinical finish, well done him. But you've got to say, and Dunk's done this probably on 2 or 3 occasions, the ball's come up, he's got right underneath the ball and almost not jumped, and he's enabled players just to body him and put him off his header. When you're up against the likes of Saka and your Dunk, you've got to be heading that ball back 25 yards into Arsenal's back line and make sure that Dunk's rubbing his ears as you catch him on the way through. He didn't do that. Well done to Saka. He's ended up bodying out someone like Lewis Dunk and creating the goal. And
I have to say, I feel as if Arsenal could have really punished Brighton inside those opening 10 minutes, because the Brighton back line looked really uncomfortable. Jack Hinchelwood in particular on the left-hand side just couldn't deal with Bukayo Saka, but Saka hadn't warmed himself up into the game yet, and 3 chances he had in that opening 5-6 minutes that he scuffed.
Yeah, exactly that. As I say, he was the one with the ball being fed out to Saka on this side that looked as though he was going to break the deadlock for Arsenal, if anyone was. Had great opportunities to do so. Hinchelwood just couldn't handle him, to be quite honest with you. Odegaard's coming to play in this area of the pitch, is in his eye line as well, which is putting him off slightly. But you feel as though unless Brighton improve slightly, if Arsenal get slightly better at what they're trying to achieve, they could win this 2 or 3-0.
Yeah, the injuries that we saw, obviously James Milner had to come off, but then Odegaard was down for a long time. It took the sting out of the game. I mean, there wasn't really that much of a sting in the game in the first place, but it was very, very stop-start. Matoma arguably had the best chance for Brighton, but dragged it wide. But what is Mikel Arteta going to do at half-time? Because he's got 2 of his midfielders on yellow cards in Declan Rice and Thomas Partey. You and I looked at each other when Declan Rice's challenge came in and immediately said yellow. I think that the crowd were, you know, holding their breath. The Brighton fans thought perhaps red. It definitely wasn't a red card, but they've both got to tread carefully, so maybe we might see Jorginho come on in the second half. Yeah,
potentially. I'm not sure he'll panic too much at this stage. You know, the players are going to all play with a bit more sensibility to their play. You know, they'll be used to playing under a yellow card situation, but I think from Arsenal's point of view and Mikel's point of view, he'll be delighted to get in the dressing room 1-0 up, because his team haven't played great today, there's no doubt about that. He'll say to his team, he'll probably put one across their bells and say, hey, well done for being 1 up, but we've been a bit wasteful at the back. Don't give possession away, and when we get into the in and around their box, and they'll let you have chances, let's be a little bit more clinical. If they get the second goal, I think the game's done.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, but we know the threats that Brighton's attackers pose, and they could get themselves back into it. We will see very shortly. This is Game Day exclusive here on Talksport. We're at the Emirates for Arsenal Brighton, but over on Talksport 2 in the EFL Championship, it's Burnley 1, Blackburn 1. Lyle Foster heading Burnley ahead after 10 minutes, but Andreas Weimann with a long-range effort 13 minutes later has made it on as even in the Lancashire derby at half-time. It's goalless between Cardiff and Middlesbrough, and Coventry and Norwich in the other Championship kickoffs. In League One, it's Blackpool 1, Wickham 1. Gareth McCleary putting Wickham ahead before Kyle Joseph equalised on 32 minutes. Rotherham Huddersfield is goalless currently, and then into League 2, Gillingham are a goal up against Chesterfield thanks to Robbie McKenzie, and Port Vale and Doncaster is 1-1 currently. Luke Molyneux scored his 4th goal of the season for Doncaster after 15 minutes, but Ryan Crosdale equalised 15 minutes later. Those are all 12:30 kickoffs, all currently at half-time. Here at the Emirates, it's Arsenal 1, Brighton 0, thanks to Kai Havertz. I keep wanting to call him Kyle Havertz for no reason whatsoever today. No, not a clue. Kai Havertz lobbed Barbara Bruggen in the Brighton goal after Lewis Dunk missed his header, allowing Saka in to put Havertz ahead. So Arsenal go ahead at the break. Second half action here at the Emirates coming next.
Game Day exclusive on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van.
Settle down for a night of crime. Witness a heist. Follow a car chase. Eat too much popcorn. Meet a mafia boss. Join in on a bank robbery. Think about making a cup of tea. Be too comfortable to get up. For less.
Selected IKEA sofas are now at a new lower price, along with thousands of other products. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
A new football season, and at Betfair, we're here for those who see things differently. Those who see the new players, new managers, new tactics, and see new opportunities. And you can capitalise on the opportunities by building the bet you want, with a completely free ACCA or bet builder available on football this weekend. Betfair. Play different.
Opt-in and previous deposit required. Max free bet varies from £1 to £10 per customer. Minimum odds of 1.5 on minimum one leg. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
You don't just check in to a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on. You tuck in. And drink up. Village Hotels. 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities. And a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
Now that football is back, you're going to want to follow every kick, goal, card and transfer as soon as it happens. So from Ipswich back in the big time, to Villa in the Champions League, and City going for 5 in a row, you know where to go. Follow it all at thesun.co.uk.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in 60 minutes or less. So, whatever the job, you can do it with less hassle and more hustle. Less pausing and more pressing on. So don't break your stride. Screwfix Sprint. Order now exclusively on a Screwfix app. £5 delivery charge, no minimum spend. Don't stop. Sprint. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products.
It's our 50th birthday, and the one and only Double Big Mac is back at McDonald's. Hang on, I know the moves to this one. Make space! McDonald's 50th birthday! You're all invited! Until 3rd of September, from 11 a.m, participating restaurants only, subject to availability.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Watching the big game, cozied up in the snug.
Another 7-0 win!
Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing railway football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Sky Sports. Stream more Sky Sports football than ever before. Available with no contract on now. Like West Ham versus Man City live today. Search Now Sports 18 plus stream via internet. Terms apply.
Game day. Live football as intense as we can legally broadcast it.
And he whips it in the near post.
Game day exclusive on Talksport.
This is Game Day exclusive on Talksport. Faker Rudders with you. Thank you for your company this lunchtime. Second half of Arsenal Brighton coming up shortly. Arsenal leading by a 1-0. If you're just joining us, thanks to Kai Havertz. 38th minute goal gifted to him after a mistake from Lewis Dunk. So what has that done to the odds? Let's find out and get the latest from Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage.
Odds update on Talksport with Betfair. Play different this August with a completely free ACCA or Bet Builder each weekend on football. Opt-in and previous deposit required. Max free bet varies from £1 to £10 per customer. Minimum odds and terms and conditions apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
James Mackey from Betfair is back with us. Well, how's that done? What's that done to the odds, James?
Yeah, Arsenal were extremely bright, weren't they, in that first 10 minutes, and then they made the pressure tell with Havertz, lovely lob finish. 1-0 up there, 2-15, odds on favourites to take all 3 points on the Betfair Sportsbook. That goal's really hurt Brighton. They were just starting to get a foothold into the game deep into the first half. They're now 22-1 to win the game in the final 45 minutes. And if Brighton can get one back and it finishes in a draw, you can currently back that at 6-1. Look at some of the player markets for the second half, and Kai Havertz got the ball rolling for Arsenal, didn't he, with another goal at the Emirates. He's 13-5 to add a second goal in the second half. Saka's been the bright spot for Arsenal, as ever, in the opening 45 minutes, with 2 shots on target already. He's 11-4 to score any time. Arsenal skipper Odegaard, he's been influential, linking up with Saka, making those late runs into the box. He has a shot on target, and he's 7-2 to score any time. And just for Brighton, they found it tough going, but for Matoma, he started to get involved more down that left-hand side for the Seagulls, and he's 4-1 to score or assist in the second half. Just on the charity bet fay, one leg is in, with Saka having 2 shots already in the second half. We need both teams to score and Arsenal to take all 3 points to land the bet builder.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, James. That odds update, all thanks to Betfair. Returns accurate as of 10 minutes ago. For verification, see betfair.com. Over 18s only. Conditions apply. Go to begambleaware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Betfair. Play different this August with a completely free ACCA or Bet Builder each weekend on football. Opt-in and previous deposit required. Max free bet varies from £1 to £10 per customer. Minimum odds and terms and conditions apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Let's check in on the golf and get an update from the British Masters with Talksport's Rupert Bell.
Well, Tyrrell Hatton didn't get off to the start he wanted when starting this third round at 10 under par. Dropped a shot at the first hole to lose the lead, but he did respond with a birdie at the third hole to get back to his starting point. He's level par through 4 holes of his round. The lead is currently held by this South African Brandon Stone, former winner of the Scottish Open. A spectacular eagle from the 31-year-old put him at 11 under par. He's playing the 6th hole, and he is one clear of Tyrrell Hatton and Nicholas Norgard, the Dane.
Thank you very much, Rupert. To the cricket now, and an update from the Test match at Lord's. Lunch on day 3, England against Sri Lanka. John Norman's there for Talksport.
Yeah, well, the brass band play in front of me, champagne corks popping out onto the outfield. It's got to be Lord's, right? England have moved along the declaration, surely only an hour or 2 away. They lead by 390 runs now at lunch. They started the day 231 runs ahead of Sri Lanka, who look a beaten side. 3 wickets falling in the session. Duckett caught at the second attempt, slipped for 24. Ollie Pope holing out at deep point. Poor shot, really. 17 to him. And Harry Brook, 37 at a run, a ball caught in the deep. Pope, rather than Root, is 45 not out. Smith, 23. England lead by 390 here at Lord's. 159 for 4.
Thank you very much, John. Couple of minutes we've got with Adrian Durham, Talksport's award-winning chief football presenter. How are you, Aid?
Award-winning Faker Others. I'm absolutely fine. In fact, I'm happy, so happy to be here. I'm at Ipswich, Fulham, today. Fulham obviously nicked Reece Nelson off Ipswich in the dying moments of the window last night, so there'll be a bit of ill feeling. But we're right above the halfway line at Portman Road. The atmosphere is going to be sensational. And as ever on a Saturday afternoon, we go around the grounds in the Premier League and the Championship. All the goals as they go in from League One, League Two, National League and the top 2 divisions in Scotland. It's what you need on a Saturday afternoon. And we have the only classified check after 5 o'clock. All the results for you.
Very much looking forward to it on my journey home, Abe. Thank you very much. Game Day Live comes to you after this game at 2:30. And of course, over on Talksport 2, we've got live and exclusive Premier League commentary of Everton against Bournemouth. That is a 3 o'clock kickoff. Both sets of players back out here ahead of the second half between Arsenal and Brighton, with Arsenal leading by a 1-0. We'll check whether there are any changes or not with your commentary team, a former England captain Stuart Pearce and your match commentator Sam Matterface. Sam does not have his headphones on, in fact. I thought he was Sam. Sam doesn't want to commentate for the next 45. I mean, I can give it a shot.
Started, yeah, has it? Sorry, I was just checking about my place in the Oasis queue.
Listen, you like to have a little bit of time to update everybody on what's going on, and it's about to kick off.
And we are just about to get underway with red shirts, white shorts and white sleeves of Arsenal attacking the goal away to our left in the second half, and all yellow Brighton and Hove Albion attacking the goal away to our right hand side. Brighton have got a good record against Arsenal, 5 wins in 14 Premier League games, a run of victories that had even Mikel Arteta pulling out his very neatly shaped dark shiny black hair. We are yet to have a change in the game, apart from the one we had in the first half when Milner had to be replaced early on. But Arsenal on the attack with Jurrien Timber, played in by Rice, gets it back to Rice. Rice thrashes it through the 6-yard box, and it's flicked over the top by Jack Hinshelwood, and it's out for a corner, the first of the second half.
Yeah, good opportunity there, and as I say, the deflection just took it behind, fortunately.
Was it a poor shot?
I'm not sure it was on target. I think it was flashing past the far post, personally.
Because he had time, didn't he? I mean, he's inside the box there. And it was just, maybe Van Hecker was being a little bit of a nuisance for him, but they have won a corner anyway. And we'll go through the 2-11s in just a second. This is Talksport. And the corner is about to be floated in from the near side by Rice towards the far post. It's a deep one, and arriving was Gabriel once again to try and get on the end of it. And he sends it over the top of the crossbar and out for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. But they are such a pain in the backside from these corners and set pieces, Arsenal, and were especially last season. The two teams then look like this. Raya is the goalkeeper for Arsenal. White, Saliba, Gabriel and Timber the back four. Partey, Ødegaard and Rice in midfield. Saka, Havertz and Trossard going forward. Partey and Rice have been booked. Arsenal closing down high up the pitch have stopped Brighton from playing out from the back, and it goes out on the near side for a throw-in. But Bruggen is their goalkeeper. They've got Veltman, Van Hacker, Duncan, Hinshelwood, Believer and Ayari in midfield after Milner was substituted with an injury. Minte, João Pedro and Matoma behind Welbeck in attack. Hinshelwood actually, who started the game, getting caught in a bit of a tight spot with Saka every time he was attacked down that right-hand side. Seemed to get to grips with him the longer the half went on. As I mentioned, that was a similar sort of tale of the tape that he encountered at Goodison Park on the opening weekend of the season. Havertz back out to Rice, down by the quadrant of the corner flag that Arsenal are attacking down the left-hand side. Rice couldn't get it in, and then Veltman is kicked out at Rice. Rice has gone down. Didn't realise that pantomime season had already started. It was a little bit theatrical from Declan, and Veltman's playing the baddie. Please don't send him off for this.
This is brilliant. Sort this one out, referee. It's a free kick. Declan Rice has given the free kick away. He stood a yard away from the ball. He's not got out the way. The Brighton players decided to have a swing at a quick free kick, allegedly, and just booted Declan Rice. It's a really difficult one. I don't know exactly what the referee's decided to do. He's
booked Declan Rice.
He's booked Declan Rice for kicking the ball away.
And Rice has already been booked, so he's been sent off.
Yeah. And to be fair, if Declan's not getting away from the ball, he's given the free kick away and kicked the ball away. away slightly, then fair play.
So the referee has booked him because he stood in front of the ball and stopped Veltman from taking the free kick. The issue you've got here, VAR cannot get involved in a second yellow card situation, so he is going to be sent off, and there is no grounds to appeal it.
Right, Declan Rice has give a free kick away, and then
he did kick the ball away.
As the free kick is about to be taken, he's kicked the ball away. It is a yellow card.
And as a result of that, he is going to miss the North London derby straight after the international break.
He'll feel aggrieved because he don't think that it was a free kick in the first place, I think. But the bottom line is, players don't get away from the ball if a free kick's been given. He's got to retreat from the ball. He didn't do that, and he kicked the ball away as it was going to be taken. So I don't think you can have any complaints.
Well, he's sent off after 49 minutes, and that's going to change the dynamic of the game, because Arsenal now play a light, and they'll play a light in the midfield area. The fourth official now being spoken to by Declan Rice. Rice can't believe it. Arteta's not happy. Was there another course of action there for the referee, just to keep the lid on things, or was it the right decision?
Well, he could have put his head in the sand and turned round and done nothing and kept the player on the pitch. But why should he? He's not on the pitch to make friends with people. He's on the pitch to implement the laws of the game.
Here is Welbeck. I mean, he might argue, Declan Rice, that he wasn't blocking the free kick, but he did kick the ball away, and ultimately we have been told if you do that, you're going to get a yellow card. I mean, the second caution was apparently for a foul tackle. I'm not sure. Was that the case? I don't know. Either way, we will, I'm sure, get it told to us later on. But it's 10 men now for Arsenal, who are defending the goal away to our right. And that will encourage Brighton. Minte towards the far post, lovely delivery, helped away by the right back, White filling in. Now, as a result of this, Ødegaard's going to have to drop a little bit deeper, and I think Trossard and also Saka might come a little bit more narrow. Might even be a 4-4-1 when they haven't got the ball here for Arsenal. Here is Van Hecker. Brighton are very good at keeping the ball as well, Stuart, so it's going to be a test.
Yeah, it certainly is, but they've got this goal advantage at present. Brighton haven't been great, I've got to say, so far in the game, but they've been offered a lifeline, Brighton.
Havertz wins the ball from Belieber and then manages to nudge it out towards the near touchline, where he finds Trossard. Trossard gets it into Havertz. Havertz is immediately crowded out by Yari. Belieber apologises for giving the ball away in the first place, and the ball goes back to the goalkeeper. It's 1-0 to the Arsenal. And Declan Rice has been sent off for 2 bookable offences. Stuart and I were both looking at each other as if to say, what is going on here, when that yellow card came out, because it was just unnecessary. Here's Matoma, into the box he goes with his delivery, comes back out to Veltman. Veltman turns it onto his right foot from his left, shoots, it's blocked, comes back to Belieber, he cracks it at Havertz, and Arsenal are under the pump here, and Brighton are turning up the heat. 1-0 to Arsenal, but Arsenal on the back foot after the sending off of Declan Rice. Dunk out wide towards the left. João Pedro takes it on, tries to get into the penalty area. Back to Matoma again. Hinshelwood clips the ball up. Oh, and then David Raya fumbles it, and no one was paying any attention. And he was fortunate that they weren't, because he was able to smother it the second time of asking.
I think he knew exactly what he was doing, just playing for time there, not picking it up and gathering the ball, just chested it down, and obviously running the clock down is a big thing now for Arsenal.
Ryan smacks it upfield. The referee getting a little bit of attention from the Arsenal faithful. It's not pleasant attention. Ball sent upfield towards Minte once more. He takes on Timber, then scoops it into the air. Didn't use the ball cleanly at all there, and then Timber is wrapping his arms round the chest of Minte. Trossard with a little flick gets it back to Gabriel, and then it's cleared away towards this near side. It remains 1-0 to Arsenal. Brighton will feel they've got to take this opportunity that's now presented itself.
Well, certainly have. I mean, they've come into the game with 6 points. They've not played particularly well in the game. Arsenal squandered some chances in the first half, but winning a goal up, and you thought, well, come on Arsenal, you're going to raise the game in the second half, and all of a sudden the game's changed absolutely totally on its head, and Brighton have got a real opportunity of having, well, got a chance of starting the season in a really strong vein.
Well, Herzl will gamble like he did at the end of last week's game if he feels he can win the match. And he does have, because of the recruitment that they've done, lots of competition for places at the top end of the pitch. Jorginho Ruter is available off the bench, so is Adingra as well. He's made an impact off the bench in the last 2 games, Simon Adingra, and may well similarly feel as if he can do so today. Arsenal trying to clear from the edge of their own penalty area, can't get it out. And back it comes with Brighton. Ayari into Believer. Believer sends it long and out wide towards the right. Minte in an offside position, unnecessarily so. And a free kick has been given to Arsenal, and that will take the pressure off for a couple of seconds at least. They're warming up substitutes away to our left here. Arsenal, Martinelli, Jorginho, Zinchenko. Calafiori is also warming up away to our left-hand side. They might be thinking about making a change. It's Arsenal 1, Brighton 0 in the Championship. Burnley 1, Blackburn 1, Cardiff 0, Middlesbrough 1. Middlesbrough just getting on the score sheet there after a real tough midweek. They lost 5-0 at home to Stoke in the Carabao Cup. Cardiff started the day bottom of the table. Coventry 0, Norwich 1. Norwich yet to win a league game this season, bashed up by Palace in midweek, are winning away at Coventry. And in League 1, it's Blackpool 1, Wycombe 1, Rotherham 0, Huddersfield 0, Gillingham 1, Chesterfield 0, Port Vale 1, Doncaster Rovers 2. This is Talksport. And from, by the way, the restart of play that I last described, we've moved 10 yards up the pitch and Arsenal have a throw-in, because they are quite determined now to delay everything, take their time, and try and just take the sting out of what has been a response to Brighton's advantage in terms of numbers of men on the pitch. We've just seen a replay again of the Declan Rice, Joel Veltman situation. It was a bit cute for that from Veltman, really, wasn't it? An inexperienced player. He was trying to engineer an infringement from Declan Rice, and it worked.
Well, it certainly did that, and as I say, it might have changed the game, but as you mentioned before the game, Sam, Arsenal have got a wonderful defensive record, you know, and they're going to have to lean on that now for the rest of the game.
Yeah, yet to concede so far this season. Ball sent long by Raya from deep inside his own 18-yard box, up towards Havertz. Van Hecker away. They're going to make a change here. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Whether they push Jurrien Timber into midfield and then bring Calafiori on at left back. That might be an option. They might take one of the forward players off, in which case I suppose it was going to be Trossard. Because I think Havertz gives them more of an outball with his height. Timber throws the ball down the touchline, headed away. Comes back into midfield, Minte sends it to Brighton's Mitoma, and then it's very congested in the middle of the park. And then Timber runs back into his back position. Calafiori stripped and ready for action. The Italian who played in the European Championships. Here is Minte running through the centre. He's got the better of Gabriel. He's one-on-one with Raya. He shoots. It goes back to João Pedro. Off of Raya. And João Pedro tucks it home. And he's on the score sheet again. Arsenal breach for the first time this season. And after Brighton terrorised Ten Hag last weekend, now they're at it again with Arteta and Arsenal. João Pedro scores. Arsenal pegged back. Brighton level 1-1.
Well, it certainly turned this game on its head there. Great through ball, bisected the 2 central defenders for Arsenal. Neither of them dealt with it. Shot was got away, and when it fell back from Reyes Paré, great finish. Tucked it in very, very well, João Pedro.
Well, it was Dunk who slid the ball forward. It was one straight ball through the middle of the park. Gabriel should have done better. He didn't get there. Minte beat him to it. Took a touch, slipped it towards the goalkeeper. He was one-on-one with Raya. Actually, he probably should have scored himself, but Raya made a good save. Last week when Raya made that weldie from Watkins, he got up so quick to stop it, but this time João Pedro put it underneath the diving Raya as he got back to his feet and equalised for Fabian Herzl's men.
Well, Brighton all fancy their chances, not just getting a point now, coming away from the Emirates with all three, I would say.
20 goals last season for João Pedro. He became the first player to do that in a season in all competitions for Brighton since Glenn Murray. And he has started this season in a great vein of form. And now there is work to do for Arsenal. Well, let's go off to Portman Road because we've got our first team news piece from our 3 o'clock kickoffs. We'll be going round the grounds with Adrian Durham, who is based at Portman Road alongside Mike Stewart.
Thank you, Sam. Yes, both Ipswich and Fulham made wholesale changes in midweek, but they've pretty much gone back to the same teams that played their last Premier League games. The only change across the two teams is that Calvin Phillips makes his Premier League debut in place of Massimo Luongo for Ipswich. As for Fulham, both Emile Smith-Rowe and Alex Iwobi start. Both of them scored last week against Leicester, and both former Arsenal players.
Back here it's Arsenal 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 1 live on Talksport. And Arsenal made a change. They've taken off Trossard as we thought they might and replaced him with Calafiori. But they've gone to a back 5, Stuart Pearce, a sort of 5-2-2 formation. And I just wonder whether or not that was the right change when they were leading 1-0. It might not be the right change now. We'll get there in just a second because Hinshelwood has got the ball for Brighton. Inviting pressure now. Space for Ayari. Edge of the box. Right footed shot. Blocked by Gabriel. Back in by Ayari. Overhead kick incoming. But Jack Hinshelwood got in João Pedro's way and headed the ball behind. Stuart Pearce, your reaction to that change?
Yeah, I think you could be right. It seems as though Arteta had it on his mind to make that change and go to a back 5. Timber just tucking in one. Calafiori just dropping in as a left back, but in a 5 as such. And then, as I say, it's almost 5-3-1 or 5-2-2, whichever way you look at it. But whether that is the right thing to do at this stage, time will tell.
Well, James Ward-Prowse and Benfica centre-back Morato came in on deadline day for Nuno Espirito Santo, but who has he picked for the visit of the weary Wolves? Adam Bridge.
Neither registered in time, Sam, so they're unchanged after that win over Saints last weekend. As for Wolves, 3 changes from the loss against Chelsea, a debut for Sam Johnson in goal, Semedo's back from suspension and Dawson starts. Their new signing is eligible. Andre is on the bench for Wolves.
Villa did their business pretty early in the window. Leicester got Odsonne Edouard in very late. He can't play today, but who can, Jeff Peters?
Yeah, Akoli, Skip and Ayew make their first league starts for Leicester. Of this week's signings, El Khanous is on the bench, but quite rightly Edouard didn't register in time. 20-year-old Dutch defender Lamar Bogard makes his first Premier League start for Villa, in for the injured Matty Cash.
Talksport live at the Emirates Stadium, where it's finally poised. Arsenal 1, Brighton 1. Declan Rice sent off for 2 bookable offences. And Brighton have a man advantage and they're back on the score sheet with João Pedro. And I was speaking to a member of the Brighton staff at half-time who said he thought there was something in it for Brighton. He might well be right. Ayari's allowed the ball to run through to Welbeck. Van Heckenfeld was fouled by Havertz just before that. Hertzler is absolutely furious. He's going to go at the assistant on this near side. He's now getting some serious treatment from the Arsenal fans. He's not endearing himself to them. Meanwhile, João Pedro is skating down the left-hand side and going in between 2 Arsenal players. Jack Hinshelwood plays it out further wide to Mitoma. Mitoma back to Hinshelwood, edge of the Arsenal penalty area. All the football being played in the Arsenal half at this moment in time. Brighton very much on top. Mitoma trying to get past Ben White. White does brilliantly, looks to try and play it down a touchline. There's nowhere to go for Arsenal. What's happening down on Talksport 2 today? We've got live commentary from Goodison Park. Iliman Ndiaye was the star for Everton in midweek. Does he start today against Bournemouth, Ian Danter?
He does indeed, Sam. There's 1 or 2 changes from the Premier League defeat at Spurs. The other Everton change sees Seamus Coleman also come in for Dixon at the back. For Bournemouth, their only change from the draw against Newcastle last Sunday in the Prem is a change in goal. Kepa Arrizabalaga, on loan from Chelsea, gets a start with Neto having left for Arsenal. On Talksport 2 at 3 o'clock, it's Everton against Bournemouth.
Down to 10 men. Blackburn are after one of their players 2 yellow cards. It's 1-1 in the Lancashire derby. Over on Talksport 2 at this moment in time. It's 1-1 here as Matoma gets down the outside, plays the ball across into the 6-yard box. It comes off well back off the goalkeeper, and then it hits Ben White and goes behind and away for a corner that the Arsenal goal might have to lead a bit of a charmed life if they're to escape here with anything, Stuart Pearce, because at the moment they're under the cosh. They've taken it short and quick here, the corner. Brighton to Ayari and then to João Pedro. Back to Hinshelwood, who's crossed into the boxes straight into the arms of David Raya. Here's the former England captain, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, you asked a question a few minutes ago about, Calafiori coming on and this formation change of Arsenal. Would it be of a benefit? I think not. I think their best way forward at the moment will put maybe a more attack-minded player on the pitch. I really do, because at the moment they're not getting out in any way, shape or form.
Well, they've got the chance to break now. Down the right with Kai Havertz. Moves it towards the edge of the penalty area. Runs into a congested 18-yard box. Loses the ball. João Pedro then runs into Saliba, who brushes him off the ball. Goes wide into an advanced position. Gets it back to Erdegaard. Surrounded by 3 yellow shirts. Gets to the byline. Low cross into the box. And it's too far in front of Havertz. There's no one there to capitalise. It's away by Van Hecker. And out for a throw-in over on the far side. 1-1. Well, certainly it spiced up the crowd, the sending off of Declan Rice, and it's going to be a long final 25 minutes, I think, for Arsenal. They've got to somehow try and find their way through, fight their way through and take 3 points here, because the last thing they want to do is to hand in the advantage in the title race to Manchester City at this early stage, Stuart Pearce.
Well, they certainly don't want to do that, and when you consider their next 2 league games are really, really tough matches coming up. And obviously no Declan Rice for the next game.
Yes, those 2 league matches you refer to are Tottenham away, Manchester City away. They've got a Champions League game in between those 2 as well, which isn't particularly helpful. It's placed on a Thursday. Here is Saka from the Havertz knockdown. Tries to get away from Ayari. The foul was called by Saka, so I should have had a free kick. Didn't get one. Then Timber made a foul further up the pitch on Veltman. The referee says play on. We'll get to team news from the G-Tech in just a second, but João Pedro gets the ball forward into Matoma's path, moves up towards the edge of the 18-yard box for Brighton, who are on the attack again. It's a bit scrappy, it's given away, and now Arsenal charge down the other end. It's very frenetic and frantic here now, Stuart Pearce. Oh, lovely turn by Erdegaard. Space for Calafiori on the left-hand side. He couldn't squeeze it through to him. There's an example of that frantic and frenetic nature.
Well, it certainly is. Arsenal broke with very few players up the pitch, and all of a sudden Calafiori had a magnificent opportunity, but Odegaard couldn't find the pass.
Here comes Veltman down the right side for Brighton. 1-1. Bit of chaos here at the Emirates Stadium. Who can make the most of it? Last week, when they were involved in a chaotic end to the match, it was Brighton who took hold and won it. Do they think they can win this one? They haven't thrown on all their attacking beasts yet. They may well do that towards the end of the game. Ball bent into the penalty area by the Brighton forward, João Pedro. And it's Danny Welbeck who's been adjudged to be fouling Gabriel, and the free kick is given inside the 18-yard box away to our right. So we'll take a pause, go off to the G-Tech Stadium and get team news from Alex Crook.
No Ivan Toney for Brentford after his transfer deadline day move to Saudi Arabia, but Brian Mbeumo and Yohan Wissa do return to the starting lineup after being rested for midweek EFL Cup duty. Southampton got Aaron Ramsdale signed in time to be available, and he makes an immediate debut for Russell Martin's men. It's Brentford against Southampton.
Talksport live at the Emirates, and it's 1-1 here as we bring you live coverage from the Emirates in association with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, whatever the mission, home or away. Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day, and actually they could have helped Alex Crook today, because I hear he's got a puncture and couldn't get as close to the stadium as he would like by this time.
On his person or in his car?
I didn't ask that. We'll have to see. Hopefully he's there before kick-off. We certainly are. Pedro out on the far side. Plays it back into Lewis Dunk. He's about 10 yards back from the edge of the 18-yard box. Van Hecker works it wide into Veltman. Veltman plays it against Saka. And then it goes back into midfield where Van Hecker looks again to work the ball wide, and there's a lot of space for Brighton now. And Matoma in towards Welbeck, and he sticks out one of his long limbs to try and poke it home, and he misses by about an inch. It goes through to the back post, and Calafiori puts it behind for a corner.
Top quality wing play there by Matoma. Received the ball on his right foot. It was just on his outside of his right foot, playing on that left-hand side, and just feathered it across the face of goal with a message on the ball: come and tap me in the goal, will you?
Yari wants to take the corner, but Arsenal have complained about a bit of rough housing inside the box, and Chris Kavanagh's gone over to sort it out. There was Ben White and Veltman, and then there was a little slap on the back of the head from Raya to Veltman, all getting a little bit unnecessary inside the box. They're still dancing inside the 6-yard box now. The ball comes in towards the penalty area. It goes straight into the gloves of David Raya. What a waste of a chance to get the ball into the box. Mistake by Baliba, and Saka almost threatened to escape but couldn't do so. He was very isolated when he tried to do so after the ball was shot forward, and it's eventually cleared towards this near side. Martinelli about to come on for Arsenal. 1-1 the score. Going to be a yellow card here for is that Jurien Timber? Yeah. Who Minte's got one as well for asking for a yellow card. So he's got given two yellow cards there. One to Minte for asking for a yellow card for Timber, who did eventually get one.
I've got to say, Sam, I don't think I'm enjoying some of the gamesmanship within the game from both sets of players today,
the look on your face is one of quiet disgust.
I thought I was hiding it well, obviously
you
not.
You weren't. It may not be a surprise to most listeners who know of your reputation that quite a lot is given away by your facial expressions. Martinelli's about to come on for Ødegaard. Minte, a yard in from the touchline. Jorginho is about to come on. He's going to be imminent, and so is Purvis Estepinian. There's a problem here for Veltman. I think they might have to make a change before this free kick is taken. But this free kick's in a good position, this. And both teams might get to make their changes before we get restarted here. Elsewhere, Burnley 1, Blackburn 1. Blackburn at this moment in time down to 10 players. Middlesbrough lead Cardiff by 1-0. Norwich still 1-0 up against Coventry. It's 1-1 Blackpool Wickham. 0-0 Rotherham Huddersfield. Rotherham still looking for their first league win of the season under Steve Evans in League One. Huddersfield have a 100% record at this moment in time. That might go in the next 18 minutes because they too have been reduced to 10 men. Gillingham 1, Chesterfield 0. Port Vale 1, Doncaster 3. Donny doing very well at the start of the campaign under Grant McCann, who is a very good manager. And Doncaster have recruited well. They look like they've got a decent squad. They look as if they will be making a charge to try and get out of League Two after staying there for probably a little bit too long. Estepinian is on and Veltman is coming off, but they've got to get him off the grass first for that substitution to happen. The other change is going to be Minte off, he who's just picked up that card, and he's going to be replaced by Jorginho. So 2 changes, and Stuart, that will, I anticipate, mean that Estepinian goes out to the left-hand side and plays as the left full-back, and Hinshelwood comes out to the right.
Yeah, and as I say, they're just trying to look for that formula to unlock Arsenal at this moment in time. They've got all the ball, all the possession, all the territory, and just waiting for that little spark to unlock it. At this moment in time, Matomo looks as though he is the one that might do that if they can feed him.
Well, Estepinian has gone straight over to take the set piece, and then Jack Hinshelwood has then decided that he's going to take it, so Estepinian's gone into the middle. Hinshelwood's nicked a yard. That's upset the Arsenal fans. He's delivered the ball into the box, though. Welbeck's got above every Arsenal defender, but probably underneath the ball a bit too much and directed the header over the top of the crossbar.
Yeah, decent ball into the box. Good swaz away from the goalkeeper, tempted him out, but just couldn't get above it and direct his header.
Martinelli on Ødegaard off, as we told you would happen here. 1-1, and we have got 17 minutes left to play on Talksport. Can someone find a winner here? Yeah, we mentioned that Ødegaard has gone off and that Martinelli's come on. Yeah. And that just gives them a bit of pace, I think, on either side. Saka and Martinelli will offer a little bit of pace to break from midfield. It means that they're probably playing with one midfield player in Thomas Partey at this moment in time and 5 defence. I mean, it does look a little bit of an off shape, that. I mean, Thomas Partey turning around to the bench and saying, is there anybody else that can come and help me out here? We're going to change the formation slightly, maybe Timber can come into midfield, or...
And the answer is no, you're on your own, fella. It's 5-1-3 at the moment, I think.
There we are. Interesting. Let's see what happens. Welbeck chasing a ball forward after Ryan kicked clear because it was reversed straight away. It was almost like a kickback, and then that was launched upfield, and Havertz has fought it down. He's got the wrong side of Van Hecke. He's brushed him aside. He's tried to steer it past the goalkeeper. Made a good save. Comes back to Saka. Saka can't finish it, but keeps it alive for Havertz, who then falls over and kicks the ball out of play for a goal kick. What a chance.
Well, that's an understatement. At one end, Welbeck's gone through, the ball's got cleared, and all of a sudden it's 1-on-1 and Havertz has burst away from the defender. Goalkeeper's made a reasonable save, and I think Saka, when it come back to him from the resulting save, I think he's waiting to be challenged and looking for a penalty instead of dealing with a ball.
He's got to hit it. I mean, Havertz, unlucky. It was a good save, I thought. And actually, maybe he was trying to skip over the challenge there, Saka, to be fair. But that was a brilliant chance, and Havertz will be a little bit disappointed he didn't beat Verbruggen in the first place. It's a good save, but I think he'll be frustrated. 1-1, end-to-end stuff. Brighton on top, Arsenal looking to escape and get a winner at the other end. It's on a knife edge at the Emirates. Jorginho cuts in from the right side, ball into the box. Welbeck trying to deal with it, didn't quite. Belieber gets in there, thunders it forward. It takes a deflection and ricochets into the left fullback position. Saka is there to clear. Havertz can't hold it up. Ayari takes it down, runs back to the edge of the area, produces a cross. There's no one in the box for Brighton, which is criminal, really. And it goes out the other side, and it's collected by Purvis Estepinian. 1-1. Mitoma edging towards full-time on Talksport. Later on, we're around the grounds with Adrian Durham and all our reporters giving you goal updates. Van Hecke strode forward. It's come back to Ayari. The goalkeeper's on the floor, and he sent it to the other side where the goalkeeper was instead of the open side, where it was completely gaping open. What a miss!
It certainly was. It was a hell of a strike. It's ended up deflecting, and as you rightly say, Raya's on the floor on the far side of the goal. He's scrambling to get back across. He'd no need to have done. He could have stood his ground because he's hit it straight back at him.
What on earth was he doing? Why did he hit it back that side when the open side of the goal was completely free? It's a great chance for Ayari to win it, or to at least get in front with just 12 minutes left of play. And he's turned it down, he's spurned the opportunity, and Brighton have given the ball back to Arsenal. Martinelli has it, back to Partey. Partey clicks clear, down the right, and Havertz has got Saka steaming through the centre. Havertz, can he produce the ball? Saka stretches, gets there, but the goalkeeper comes across and he didn't get enough on it. And Verbruggen stops it from going in the goal. But those lightning quick breaks are causing problems.
Well, they certainly are, and Brighton are throwing men forward with not an eye for what's being left behind them. All of a sudden, it's a 2-on-2 scenario, and Saka just, well, he probably done brilliant to get in the box, and he's at full stretch. He's had to go to ground to get something on it, and it just went into the grateful hands of the goalkeeper.
Can I ask you, is this game as chaotic as it is? Are Arsenal approaching it in this manner because they know that dropping points at this stage of the season could be so dangerous so early? I mean, usually, if you're in this situation and you're in the third game of the campaign, you just sit there and go, do you know what, we'll take a point here and just escape, don't you?
Well, it's fair to say yes. I said to Faye before the game, Arsenal need to look on what they've done the last 2 years. Don't get too excited about what Manchester City are doing. Just try and build on last year. And if you've got that philosophy, it might well be exactly what you've just said there. Let's play the game, not the campaign of a whole season and dropping points and all
feels
of
like
those
they're
type of
desperate.
things. Exactly that. And but let's be honest with you, the game hasn't been a great game from both teams' point of view. More worrying for Arsenal now. Timber's down injured with his injury record. It's not good.
Yeah, he's down and been receiving treatment for quite some time. You remember that at the beginning of last season he suffered an ACL injury and missed the most of the last campaign, and he came back right at the very end. He's going to have to be replaced here by Oleg Zinchenko. And again, you do hope that that is nothing more than the fact that he has probably just overstretched himself today, having to play in a team with one less player. He's walking off the pitch okay, which is a good sign, really. So let's just hope it's nothing more than just a precaution for Jurgen Timber. Zinchenko coming into that position on the right-hand side of the defense. What is going to be the right-hand side? No, Timber's okay. He's going to stay on. He's going to go back towards the right-hand side. He came over towards the near side, didn't want to come up. Now he's going off the other side. They're going to make the change anyway. He's gone off the pitch, and now Zinchenko is going to come on. Hold on a second. What's happening here? No. Referee's saying no substitution. Mikel Arteta is trying to force it through, wants to get him on the pitch, but the referee says no, and they're going to play on and not allow him to make that substitution at this moment in time. There we are. And then Purvis Estepinian has just ballooned the ball behind for a goal kick anyway, so now they can make the substitution.
And Timber's gesturing to his manager. He's all right to carry on. It's almost farcical. It really is.
Well, it's been a chaotic end to the game. It's been a bit like this from the beginning, really. It's not been perfect. Neither of these two teams can probably look back on their performance and think, yeah, we've done brilliantly. What they'll look back on, I mean, especially Arsenal, will look back on this and say, it's been a bit too scrappy for us. We've been scratching around trying to do things at a frantic pace when maybe, if we'd just been a little bit cooler, we might have seen ourselves through this game anyway. There just seems a bit too much desperation about Arsenal, even at this stage. Maybe they know this is a big fixture that they need to get 3 points from, bearing in mind the two games that are upcoming against Tottenham, which they won't have Declan Rice for, and Manchester City, which is next for them as well. And Brighton maybe have just not quite hit their straps yet, but have shown flashes that they can cause you problems. They certainly have caused Arsenal one or two, but maybe not enough with 10 men.
No, I'm just trying to compare what would Manchester City be like down to 10 men against Brighton on their home pitch. I think they would still create a lot of chances and have still more possession of the ball. And I don't think Arsenal have actually done that.
Well, Arsenal haven't had possession of the ball. They've only had 26% in the second half of the game, but they have created chances.
By luck or judgment, I think some of that's down to Brighton overextending themselves and being caught on the counter twice.
Let's see what happens next, because the ball is down the left side with Mitoma getting into the penalty area. White slips in, nudges the ball behind, and it's out for a Brighton corner. We're into the 81st minute of the game. Jurgen Timber getting applauded from this side of the ground as he walks in front of us and goes down the tunnel. Arsenal got some defending to do here, though. Remember, Brighton's new signings, Fede Kodiolu and Matt O'Reilly, not available at this moment in time. Max Vifa is not available at this moment in time because of injury at the moment as well. So they've still got players to come back. Ball in towards the near post. It's a poor delivery. Really poor delivery by Estepinian in towards the near post. And Jorginho trying to flick it up off of the Arsenal player in order to try and make the most of it, and succeeded. So it goes out for another corner. Yes, Jorginho Ruter, but he wants to be known as Jorginho. Jorginho Arsenal is on the bench at this moment in time. It's in towards Van Hecke, heads it goalwards, and it goes behind. And then there's a collision between two Brighton players, a head collision between two Brighton players inside the 18-yard box. So, it is worth clarifying that. There is a Jorginho on the bench for Arsenal, yes, but Jorginho Ruter, but Jorginho has Jorginho on the back of his shirt as well. So we have two Jorginhos, spelled differently, but he is specifically asked to be referred to as Jorginho. And since he's the only one on the pitch, we can do that. But he is Jorginho Ruter, formerly of Leeds United, whose release clause they paid, and he has come on in the last two games, and to some effect as well, actually, in the game against Manchester United. He played a part in that chaotic end to that match. Maybe he'll play a part in the chaotic end to this one. Middlesbrough have taken a 2-goal lead away from home against Cardiff in the Championship. Well, Wycombe lead Blackpool by 2-1. Rotherham 1, Huddersfield 1 now in League One. Here is Dunk just in front of the centre circle. This is Talksport. It's finally poised at the Emirates. Van Hecker, everyone back on their feet now after that head injury. Dunk forward to João Pedro, got the equaliser. Tries to play it forward as gives it straight to Partey and then kicks out at Partey and gives away a free kick.
Yeah, really poor play there. João Pedro, good possession of the ball and just seeded it and gives the free kick away, which has broke the game up for Arsenal, which they'll be pleased about.
Here they come, Enciso and Adingra, to try and rev up the Brighton front line towards the end of this game. They want to start with a perfect tally. Both these two teams come in with a 100% record. Both don't want that to go at this stage of the opening few weeks of the season, especially not Arsenal. Saka does well, takes it down, scoops it forward, and Martinelli and Havertz can't get beyond the defence, and it runs through to Verbruggen, and it'll be cleared away from the edge of the box by the Dutch goalkeeper.
It'll be an interesting one for Brighton, because a 1-1 result at the Emirates is a very, very good result, but on the scheme of things, they'll have regrets if it stays that way, I think, Sam.
Here is Van Hecker coming forward, clipping it into the left channel. Matoma stretched for it instead of trying to control it, and then kicked it straight behind for a goal kick. We're going to get two changes here, and the two changes are going to be Adingra, who comes on, and he's going to replace... Who's he replacing? He's going to replace... Hold on a second, they put the wrong number up. He's going to come on for Welbeck, and Kara Matoma is going to come off, and Enciso is going to come on. So Welbeck and Matoma off, and then Enciso and Adingra are on. So that means João Pedro will go through the centre. Adingra will go out to the left-hand side, where you've got four behind João Pedro now: Ayari, Enciso, Jorginho Ruter, and Adingra, and then Baliba is protecting the back line. Enciso forward with a header after a David Raya clearance. João Pedro wins the second ball. Ben White was bullied. It's picked up by Adingra. He plays it down the left side in towards Enciso. Enciso gets beyond Ben White once again. Adingra moves into the penalty area. It goes through the legs of Ben White, but it'll be easily cleared by Partey. And then he hacks it upfield, but there's no out ball now for Verbruggen. Arteta is desperate for his team to hang on here, and he's just turned round and acted as conductor of the orchestra and tried to rev up the volume inside the stadium. Adingra far side, back to Estepinian. Terrible ball into the box. I mean, he hasn't played a lot of football because of his injury. He had surgery at the end of last season, Estepinian, but crikey. I mean, a couple of times he's got into positions of crossing the ball and hasn't been able to do so. And similarly, Lewis Dunk has had a real struggle sometimes this afternoon.
Well, he's trying to head the ball, Sam, without getting his feet off the floor and letting people just push him out of the way.
Havertz was the latest one who went up against him. 1-1, Arsenal-Brighton. The latest odds are available at Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage. Right now you can get Arsenal to win the game at 4-1, Brighton 3-1, the draw 13-8 on. And that's all thanks to Betfair, are paying out winning bets at 90 minutes with 90-minute guarantee. Terms and conditions apply. 18+, begambleaware.org. Here is Saka, who would love to get a winner for Arsenal, over on the right side, tricking his way past two challenges, can't get past the third, but certainly doing his best to drag his team up the park. After doing so, he obviously gassed out, ran out of steam, looked up to the heavens, looked over, glanced over at his manager, who just went, get back, help out, because the ball's coming back your way. Here's Jorginho Ruter edge of the area, right-footed shot over the bar.
Yeah, there's a few scrappy moments, and probably that's going to be Brighton's best opportunity. A scrappy moment, a deflection that drops to someone in the box. They've had one or two earlier on, and when that fell, Jorginho just cut across his shot, skied it.
Arsenal 1, Brighton 1, and we're into the 88th minute of the game. And remember, Fabian Hertzler's team won it late on. And they've got home game against Ipswich up next before they play Nottingham Forest, Chelsea, Tottenham, Newcastle and Wolves. Arsenal, Tottenham, Atalanta, Manchester City, Leicester, Southampton, Bournemouth. They've got PSG to play as well in the Champions League in between all of that. Here's Estepinian again running down a cul-de-sac. Away by Partey, but can't get it clear. Picked up by Adingra though, as he now comes forward from the Brighton left. He's within 10 yards of the 18-yard box when he squares it to Ayari. Into João Pedro, back to Believer. Cracks it first time, then gets the deflection and cracks it a second time, but it's over the bar. I mean, the initial shot has taken the wind out of Gabriel's sails. He's on the floor lying prostrate now after getting cracked right in the midriff by that effort from Carlos Baleba.
I've got to say, top quality block there. As I say, flat out on the floor, but he's took it straight in the chest. And any slight deflection beyond him, I think, would have wrong-footed the goalkeeper.
Indeed.
Good defending that. Really solid defending.
Middlesbrough are going to beat Cardiff 2-0. They're into the final minute there. It's 1-1 on Talksport 2 between Burnley and Blackburn. Coventry about to lose at home to Norwich. Norwich about to get their first win of the league season. 2-2 Blackpool against Wycombe. Blackpool seemingly going all right under Richard Keogh. Rotherham 1-1 against Huddersfield, who did have a 100% record in League One before today. In League Two, Gillingham down to 10 men, but 1-0 up against Chesterfield, and Doncaster 3-2 up against Port Vale going into the final minute. Well, we've only had a handful of fixtures today. I think we've had 8 in the EFL and the Premier League, and we've had 4 red cards. 6 minutes of added time are going to be put on the end here, so we still might have some drama yet, Stuart.
Well, I think if anything, it'll be a mistake that leads to a winner from either team.
João Pedro's thrown himself to the floor after a collision with an Arsenal defender, and then Martinelli and Hinshelwood have collided on this near side. The referee's played on. Martinelli's crunched and gone off the pitch on the near side. The histrionics have been revved up in this second half by quite some high degree. The ball is sent long down the left-hand side, and Brighton are on the attack. Adingra, 6 minutes now confirmed as we brought you here on Talksport. We go into the final few minutes of the game. Here is Enciso clipping it into the box looking for Ayari, and out comes Raya and will grab it above the Swede's head on the left edge of his 6-yard box. Arsenal fans trying to urge them forward and get them up the pitch. Arsenal, I think, just want to see it out now. They're tired, their limbs are aching. It's Arsenal 1, Brighton 1 with Sky Sports. Don't forget, you can stream more Sky Sports football than ever before, available with no contract on now, like West Ham versus Manchester City live today. Search Now Sports, and Manchester City will go into that game knowing that Arsenal have dropped points if it stays like this, and thinking it's a good way to start the season with a 2-point advantage if they can beat West Ham. Calafiori, though, has fed Zinchenko. The ball's been played down the left for Martinelli. Saka feels he was blocked off as he went to go through the middle. The referee shakes his head. Jorginho of Arsenal comes out of the technical area and berates the 4th official. Albert Stuyvenberg does the same. Play continues, and Brighton now nick it, run upfield, down the left into the centre towards Believer. Believer to João Pedro. Believer is still running. Raya comes out, collides with his goalkeeper, and Believer collides with him, and he grabs it and pulls it into his chest and will clear away. What a chaotic end to this game. This second half has been bonkers, Stuart Pearce.
It has. It's been very, very scruffy. Obviously, the sending off of Rice has created probably sent the game in Brighton's direction, if you like. But I don't think either team deserved to win.
Tomorrow, the Sunday session comes live from Old Trafford. Starts at 1 o'clock, and we've got full coverage of all the day's action. We've got all the goals as they go in from around the grounds. We're doing the same with Adrian this afternoon, 2:30. We bring you up to date with everything that happens in the EFL, the National League, and of course the Premier League. Here it's 1-1 in the Premier League at the Emirates between Arsenal and Brighton, but Brighton are on the attack in stoppage time with Estepinian down by the byline, into the box. Deflection by White, goes behind, it's out for a corner. And it was from a corner from which they scored their stoppage time winner last week. Arsenal might be nervous that they can do so again. They're queuing up on the edge of the box. Enciso will take this corner, right-footed. There's 5 waiting in yellow. Towards Hinshelwood it goes. Punched away by Raya. Picked off by Saka. Tried to escape. Couldn't find Martinelli, and Believer will get it back to his goalkeeper. Under pressure. There was a threat of a counter there from Arsenal. They just couldn't quite pull it off, and Brighton have been handed possession once again, and Brighton have had a lot of possession in the second half because of the man advantage given to them by Rice's sending off. Here is Enciso into the box, aimed towards Jorginho Rutter, heads it down, it comes off the defender, it goes behind, it's another corner.
Really dangerous ball into the box there, and the Arsenal backline almost left it for each other.
In it goes again towards the edge of the box. Estepinian this time balloons it right over the top of the crossbar. And Arsenal's manager, Arteta, comes out, tells his team to tighten up, sharpen up and concentrate, because they weren't concentrated from that short corner. The ball was given to Estepinian and they were all at sea. They didn't know what was happening. We still got 3 minutes to go, Stuart.
Yeah, they did. And I think that ball is down Holloway High Street now from Estepinian's shot.
I mean, how many times has he tried to get the ball into the box or had a shot and has completely overcooked it?
Yeah, as I say, this game, this Premier League fixture has been littered by sort of mistakes, I think, from both sets of players.
David Raya getting a yellow card for time wasting. João Pedro trying to add a little modicum of composure to his team, saying just keep it calm. He's having a right go at Estepinian. Ball cleared by David Raya. We have played 93 minutes and 53 seconds. We've got 6 minutes of added time, so that's about 2 minutes left. Arsenal trying to run the clock down and get things over the line here. And "You're not fit to referee" is the cry from the Arsenal fans. And a little bit frustrated with his performance, Chris Kavanagh. And Stuart Pearce said, you know, I'm afraid Declan Rice walked into a trap and got a yellow card as a result of it. He had already been booked, so that's 2 yellows, it makes a red, and that's it. Down to 10. Here is Martinelli, good touch into Saka, rides one challenge but can't get away from a third. And then Calafiori, a little bit late on Ayari, and a free kick is given, and Calafiori is going to be the latest to go into the... Oh no, he's decided not to give him a yellow card. He went to pull it out of his pocket and then just said play on. Here is João Pedro, down the left for... Brighton, cutting in, coming infield, riding one challenge. He was fouled over on the far side by Thomas Partey, who has to be very careful. And Thomas Partey was beckoned at by João Pedro. João Pedro saying to Chris Kavanagh he should have got a yellow card for that. He's probably right, by the way, but because João Pedro asked for it, it's he who gets the yellow card and not Thomas Partey, and Arsenal spared the blush of going down to 9 men.
Yeah, the gamesmanship's been very, very disappointing as a spectacle, I think, today. And this probably will be the last opportunity Brighton get to win the game.
Enciso and Estepinian are standing over it. Enciso should be the one to take this on the evidence of what we've seen so far. But it is Estepinian into the centre, fixed on by Jorginho Rutter. Again, it wasn't a great delivery. It hit a Arsenal player. The suggestion that there was a handball, and now the referee has stopped the game because he was checking a VAR call in his ear. That's now been overruled. He's now going to blow the full-time whistle, and that's the end of the match. Well, Arsenal drop points at home against Brighton for a 4th time in 5 seasons. Mikel Arteta has strengthened the spine of his team, but they still didn't have the ability to get over the line once they lost Declan Rice to 2 yellow cards at the start of the second half. It may mean nothing when it comes to the business end of the season, but no one challenging for the title will want to hand Manchester City any advantage, especially not this early. But Arsenal could not deal with the fact that Brighton came at them time and time again after they'd been reduced to 10 men. It was bad-tempered, full of gamesmanship and full of chances that were spurned at both ends of the field. But it finishes in the end all square. Arsenal 1, Brighton 1.
Well, I mean, you mentioned it a couple of times. What a bonkers second half that was. And really, when you look at it, a point apiece is fair for a game that was like that. Yeah, it certainly is, Faye. And I'm a little bit disappointed for both sets of players. I don't think the quality of football was great today, and I think the gamesmanship spoiled the spectacle as well. And a draw would probably be a fair result for both teams. Those boos you're hearing are to Chris Kavanagh and his assistants as they make their way down towards the tunnel. That's who the fans were booing rather than their players when the whistle was blown for full time. They believe the referee is to blame for that, but I think the person to blame for what happened in that game was their own player, Declan Rice.
Exactly, it was, and that's the sad thing about football. I think that the referee's getting vilified here, and I know the fans are entrenched in their own team and all that, but they've not made it easy for the referee today. The gamesmanship, dropping to the ground easily, trying to buy fouls, all of those type of things. And for me, I've seen a lot of sendings off that I think were harsh. I don't think today's was one of them.
I don't either, and it was uncharacteristic from Declan Rice in terms of the petulance. We're not used to seeing that from him, but he did enough that he was stopping the game restarting, and that is fair enough. And when you're on a yellow card already, you can't do that.
Exactly. You know, he'll have to learn by that. I don't think they can have any comeback from that. They've ended up taking a point, but Arsenal from start to finish didn't play particularly well. I'm not sure Brighton did either, though, you know, so I draw a fair result.
Yeah, let's go through the goals because Havertz's lob over Verbruggen put Arsenal ahead in the first half. Lewis Dunk to blame for that, and really it was all Arsenal's downfall right at the start of the second half. Rice getting sent off when they had the momentum.
Well, once they got their nose in front at half-time, Arsenal, you were expecting a better performance in the second half by them to boss the game. They never got the chance to get in any form of stride in the second half because the sending off comes so quickly. It put Brighton on the front foot. Both goals, both defences will be disappointed with the goals against them, that is for sure. And as I say, both managers will come away and say, look, we've lost 2 points, but maybe we've gained a point.
Could you criticise Mikel Arteta for not making a change sooner after Declan Rice was taken off? They wanted to bring on Calafiore for Trossard. He was there, stripped and ready to go, and he wasn't on quick enough before João Pedro had equalised.
Yeah. In all honesty, I think he'd made his mind up in his head to make a defensive change, and because the goal come quickly, he still went on and made that defensive change. So they had 5 defenders, 5-1-3 on occasion, 5-2-2 on occasion, and for me, sometimes you still need an attacking threat to get your team up the pitch a little bit, and I think they lost that. But saying that, they had 2 good opportunities, one for Saka and one for Havertz on the break, and I think that was more poor defending by Brighton than good play by Arsenal, but they still had 2 good chances.
And Brighton had their chances towards the end. We saw what they did with Manchester United from a corner last weekend, taking all 3 points right at the death, and they had a few opportunities to do that, but just couldn't. And you mentioned Estepinian's ball being over in the Holloway Road. You need a little bit of composure in that moment.
You certainly do. As I say, we saw efforts missed in the first half by Odegaard, by Saka, not getting good contacts on it. And I've watched a fair bit of football even this season. You think, come on, the shooting and the finishing's got to be that little bit better. Instead of players getting contacts to get something on target, you've got to be serious about putting the ball in the net.
Listen, it's difficult to look at this game in terms of the context of the season, but we did right at the beginning, and we said at the start of the show, these are the sorts of games that Arsenal have to win if they want to challenge Manchester City. They haven't. How does this affect them going forward?
Well, what I think you've got to do, and we spoke about it pre-game, you've got to divorce yourself from chasing Manchester City and all of those type of things. Manchester City are a great entity, we understand that. Arsenal have come on leaps and bounds, there's no doubt about that, but they've just got to keep ticking over. They've conceded 1 goal in 3 games, Arsenal. They've got 7 out of 9 points. It's not a bad return. You've just got to put things in perspective and not heap pressure on yourself. Brighton have started the season well. They've invested well. They've got 7 out of 9 points. They'll be delighted with their start as well, having played Manchester United and Arsenal in the first 3 games.
Absolutely. So both of these sides unbeaten, but the 100% records go today after a 1-1 draw. This is going to be your hardest task of the day, Stuart Pearce, because it's time for us to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
I've been thinking about this for the last 10 minutes.
Don't tell me yet, because I've got to throw to a trail first.
Okay.
Man of the match on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day.
You see, you just thought it was easy. You were going straight in there. You knew immediately.
I weren't. I was going home. That's what I was doing. This decision is so difficult. But I'll tell you what I'm going with. I can't go for any of the outfield players. I'm going for Raya. I thought his handling was very good. His shot stopping was decent. I've looked through both sets of players on either team, and I'm thought I can't see a man of the match in the outfield. Sam?
I was going to go for Bart Verbruggen for his save from Havertz, where he stuck out his left leg.
Yeah, okay.
It's one of those
who am I going for? Former England captain or Sam Mather?
Go with him. Go with him.
Verbruggen it is then.
Yes, Verbruggen. Verbruggen's the winner. Verbruggen /Raya is our man of the match from today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.